Good evening. Is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? Can you hear me? Me. Elena Levine, how are you? How are you holding up in Arizona? I know a great Arizona song that you don't know, Elena Levine. It's because it's by Alejandro Escovedo, who everyone should know but doesn't. He's amazing. When I lived in Austin, he was a huge Austin act. He's great, but there was an album and there's a song, I think it's just called Arizona. It's a pretty cool song. Elizabeth, Elena, Bill, Darla the Darling in Canada. I blame Canada for so many things. No, Canada is all right. I've always liked Canada. Not only have I been to Toronto numerous times, several. What an edit that was. And Montreal several times, numerous even. But I was barely in Vancouver once. But I've been to Waterloo, Ontario, and I spent 2 solid weeks in London, Ontario. What do I get for that? So can you hear me? Did I zoom in? Hey, did you notice this? NetReamer, thanks for tuning in. Montreal is awesome. Hey, do you notice who is watching Monday night? What do you not see? What do you not see on this? Were some of you watching? Matthew, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on Facebook, I implore you to join me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Science Comedian. It's the Science Comedian channel on YouTube, because I'm trying to build that up. My admiration and adoration, implore. It's actually, so what happened is, I've been having trouble with getting light reflect, because I have lights. And especially the new red one. I'm gonna get a second one. It's not red enough, is it? It is, I think I do stand out a little from it, but just imagine if we could make it a little redder. I think we're gonna do that. But, I was getting these, I've been having trouble with reflections here, and someone suggested I remove the glass. Was that you, NetReamer, that said remove the glass from that frame? I did the other thing. I tilted it down a little. Now, I just did it a little while ago. If that falls to the floor during this, I really should put a better nail in there because it's very loose, and I pulled it out farther so I could hang it in such a way that it angles down. Problem solved. You like the light? It's pretty good. I gotta say, it even looks good on my dark monitor, which makes me wonder how it actually looks down here. Let me see if I can get a look at this real quick. Because, you know, I guess so. It's really bright, but maybe I'll want to explore, like, it doesn't need to be this bright. It could be a little, it's nighttime. It could be a little moodier. It could be a little darker. I could bring it down, and I think it would be okay. You want to see something funny? So I'm gonna probably do this more than once, but so you know I've played some Steve Vai clips. Steve Vai, the rock and roll guitarist, he's been doing some live streams on Facebook, and so check this out, and you'll know exactly why it's just the very first thing he says is that I'm not the only one. Check this out.
Hey folks, I'm back. Hoping that the sync is a little better. I'm doing this on my laptop, and we're just kind of.
I actually am not monitoring that right now, but it's the first thing he said, right? Hopefully the sync is better. Am I right? So I'm not the only one. Rock and roll guitarist extraordinaire Steve Vai has actually had sync problems. Hey, though, you know what? That long stream Monday night, I took yesterday off because I thought you deserved a break from me. Because we did 2.5 hours. I don't know how, I was there the whole time. I don't know how many of you were there the whole time, but I was there 2.5 hours. And I thought you all deserved a break yesterday. But I have some thoughts on ramping it up. And that really long one, though, I think even on replay, everything looked in sync. I think even the YouTube, not the YouTube, I think even the Facebook was in sync. But actually, I could be wrong about that. But you know what I'm thinking? Another solution to this whole thing is I could start the stream the way I did, and then just go to YouTube, and then before I come on the air, I could share the YouTube video to my Facebook page. But I don't think that the notifications go out as well. I think that each platform rewards its own native videos. So when you post, if I post, but that way I could just, instead of dividing it up, just have the YouTube stream and let it, and post that to Facebook, even while it's live. I just think that I might lose some engagement there, and then I also won't really see, if I do that, I won't see the comments the way I'm seeing them. So let's check some comments, in fact, because there have been a bunch. Oh, yeah, boy. Okay, wait. Oh, there's been a ton. I got some catching up to do. Okay, hold on. Hello. Denise knows that's a song. I know, I'll put some other stuff. I need to reserve that for this other project. I just have been lazy. Evening. Hey, James Thomas, thanks for tuning in. Sorry if you're even still out there. Tell us more about Canada, eh? Love Montreal. 2 weeks. Yeah, I was in a fringe festival, and I did a one-person show. In this case, it was a one-man show. I know. Technically, I'm a man. I don't identify completely as a man. I don't identify as a woman, but man, it's like, wow, like that suggests like I would be old enough to have kids and all that kind of thing. I don't think so. Perfect job on the lighting. It's excellent. Implore no glare. Exactly, Jay. I don't know if you were watching the other night, but I had some serious glare, and one person's solution was take the glass out of the frame. And when you look at this one, it's like, right, there's glass in there, but you don't see it. I could have totally taken the glass out of this one. But I didn't want to do that. And I realized that if I tilted it down, that was the solution. It changed the angle. Unless it falls off the wall, then then the glass will break, and then I'll use that solution. Photons, eh? Photons have been messing with me. The purple's fab, cool. I think I'm gonna make it even more purple. I think I have to add, the problem is, I think I'll add a second purple reddish light. It's tunable, so some nights it could be a different color. But the lights that are on me are washing it out. If they weren't so widespread, if I had like a spotlight on me, I think that would look better. Innovation. Please talk about hydroxychloroquine. The Science-y Optimist. Damn it. Why, you Science-y Optimist, you're very optimistic thinking I know very much about this. I really don't. So let's tell us more about your nails. How did that come up? That's where I collect virus the most. Under my nails. Don't you? So when you're washing your hands, I don't know about you, but my hands are all soapy. Do you do this? Do you do this move? I do it, and it's not to scratch the virus off my palm. It's to get under the nails. What about my nails? I actually cut them. They were long Monday, but they've been cut since then. And Susan, hey there, we broke out for a bit, so we have you streaming as we travel back north on I-45. You're traveling in these days of no travel? So excellent. Boy, Albert is driving. All right. Hey, friends. Hey, Dawn. Thanks for tuning in. I started a little early. So what time is it there? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. It's like 2 a.m., so you are up pretty late, right? Dawn is in the UK. What does the light look like? What does the light look like? You know what's here is a fascinating property of light. The fact that, like, say you're outside, forget this. I mean, this works too. Light is bouncing off me and then into the camera lens. And light has this quality that, like, information gets encoded upon it. Isn't that kind of fascinating? Like light doesn't just bounce off me. It's not just reflecting off me. When it reflects off me, it carries information and enables you to see me, feel me. Don't touch me. Not in this era. The era of the virus. The error of the virus. I said, James, looks good. Thanks, James. Don't be dim. Equals mood. Sorry, Elena. What is your situation in Arizona? Oh, I already know. My friend Mark from Arizona was on yesterday or the other day. And so I guess Nate Etheridge watching over on Facebook. Join us. Come to the dark side, Nate. Come to Facebook. Come to where the flavor is. Come to YouTube. Hey, Nate, do you know that your friend Steve Vai has been doing live streams on his Facebook page? You should check them out. He's very entertaining. He plays a little music. He talks. He answers questions about anything. Bow Wrap Purple. Yeah, Don. I was the one that said to remove the glass. Of course, now that you made it loose, it'll fall. And Exactly, David. You got it. That breaks, the glass breaks, and then I'll do it your way. But for now, I did it my way. A lot of laughing. What are my thoughts? This is amazing. Know anything about COVID vaccines? No, I don't. All I know is that, I think a lot of people have a sense that hopefully this will be over soon, but I think this isn't my expert opinion. It's just my opinion, and I'm not an expert. I don't know how much things will really change until there's a vaccine. I mean, we will, I'm sure, loosen up restrictions, but, well, here's another thing that can happen first. If they determine that once you've had the virus, that you have some immunity to it, if you do, in fact, have antibodies, I don't think this is known yet, but Dr. Fauci, who's a pretty good expert, I saw him say in an interview that we do not know that yet, but he felt strongly, it's not a very scientific thing to say, that he would bet anything that it'll turn out that we do have immunity, just based on what we know about similar viruses. So this would be very good. If you get it and survive it, that you would have antibodies and some protection, well, then that would be great news for healthcare workers in particular. If they knew that they could work with patients and not risk getting it again, that would be awesome. And then I think other people also could worry about it less and return to a little bit more normalcy, but they still have to worry about carrying it and passing it on, I think. So I don't know, but I have this feeling that until there's a vaccine, it's just going to be a growing threat. And then the other side is, I want an expert opinion on this. If we did social isolation properly, like hardcore, and then after a couple or few weeks, the virus runs its course in an individual, I think, and then it needs another host to jump to. And if it doesn't, I think that's the way that it gets stamped out. Like it could, but I don't think we'll ever do social isolating to that degree, unfortunately. Maybe some other countries will, but I'd like to get I'm going to be figuring out who my next interview is going to be that I'll start making more videos from. But you don't expect anything till Christmas or after, right? There's not going to be a vaccine anytime soon, unless, I don't know, some extraordinary lucky break, but they still have to really test it for its safety in humans. Even in the lab, if they figure out that it So it's not going to be anytime soon. Elizabeth, at least this time you're awake. Thank you. Livecast, just a graphic to Facebook with a URL to YouTube. Oh, well, I can't do that, David. I don't have enough machines, and I'm like all the bandwidth. I'm sending one stream to this central location restream, and it sends out identical streams to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So I don't know how I could do that. And I wouldn't want to be uploading 2 streams here. That seems like it would impact perhaps the quality of the stream here. We are 23 minutes in. Here's your streaming report. Here's what I haven't been noticing lately. 30% CPU usage. That's pretty good. When I use the green screen, it uses more. We're 23 minutes in, no dropped frames. The stream the other night, by the end, it was a little out of sync. We didn't wait for you, Brian. We just started talking. I know, you all started talking. That's right. Tom Hester! Dude, are you still out there? I'm sorry I'm so late. Bruce and Nate and Matthew. I'm sorry I'm so late. There were so many comments. 2112. You commented at 2112. Were you in a rush? Were you in a hurry? 8 minutes ago, Tom Hester, please come watch on my YouTube channel, and that's where most of the commenting is going on. The comments I'm reading are almost all over on YouTube, and you're helping me out by helping me build up my channel. But Tom Hester, extraordinarily funny human being, and also a comedian, and also a former roommate. A one-man show, exactly. You don't identify completely as a man? No, I'm a man, na 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 na. Science-y optimist, all the hard questions. What am I, a politician? Are you grilling me? What is this, 60 Minutes? What is this? What is this? Back off, man, you're not my real dad. Have U.S. politics influenced science? Oh, yeah, what is that, a softball? You're setting me up for that? Home run? Yes, U.S. politics, of course, because, you know, the political system is how we determine how much funding everything gets, and our political system has determined that science doesn't get enough funding for my satisfaction, and yours, I suspect. So that one is an easy one. Thank you for that. Yes, and then U.S. politics, yes, because some actual politicians have used their platform for very anti-science declarations and bullshit. Yes, so a lot of people, and you know, the thing is, people should not be getting their science information from politicians and preachers. You know, they might be good for something, but not as a source of science information, and that is a problem. So the U.S. politics influences the funding of science, and it influences the perception of science, because, you know, with the right leaders, they would be saying, oh, well, I'm going to defer to Anthony Fauci because he is our expert on our team here. And you know that thing where some people, this has always been a big thing in the entertainment business, like a talk show. There's always been, you've heard about some people who, they don't like anyone on the show to be more talented than them, or they don't like in a government or in an agency or in any job, some people don't like to have smarter people than them. That's dumb. I've always been the opposite of that. Just think, like, if you had a show or an agency or a company and you were the leader, but you felt like you were the dumbest person, like, you don't have to feel that. But what if you surround yourself just with the smartest team you could put together? How awesome would your show be? Like this show, because I surround myself, like you people, I let you people participate because I know you're smart and clever and imaginative and creative, and this will be better. So, oh my God, you're blowing my mind. Elena, oh, was it the part about light? Yeah, I didn't even finish that. There's something really interesting, because I'll bet outside sunlight, not right now because it's nighttime, in some places. Flat earthers, explain that one. But for a bunch of us, it's nighttime. But during the day, but at night you can get some sunlight too, but it's bouncing off the moon. But I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that that light that bounces off the moon, or light that is bouncing around off the grass and stuff. Probably you see this light that comes off the grass, and you not only learn something about the grass, but you learn something about the sun. I'll bet. Because those photons did come from there originally. But if something's green, it's preferentially reflecting green, and the other stuff is being absorbed or passing through it. So you're missing a lot of the information about the sun. Because like, the sun is giving out a pretty wide spectrum of radiation, electromagnetic radiation, and then different things. So, you know, the bark on the wood only reflects the brown light. I don't know. It reflects a mix of colors that appear brown to our eyes. There isn't brown light. But Albert says you need a fog machine. Duh, of course I need a fog machine. I don't see any of you donating it. Are you an Anthony Fauci fan, says the Sciencey Optimist? Sure, because I don't know that much about him, but he has a very nice pedigree, and he's a purebred. And don't get him from a puppy mill. When you're getting your infectious disease experts, please, people, don't go to a mall. Don't go to a puppy mill. Don't go to an infectious disease doctor mill. If you know what I'm saying. Madhu, join me. Madhu, join me over on my YouTube channel. You know what it is? It's youtube.com/Science Comedian. Join me over there. But thanks for tuning in, even if it's only for 3 seconds, which pretty much is what Facebook calls a view. 3 seconds, and then is that a view? That is an accidental impression. Somebody watches 3 seconds and they give you credit for a view. Seriously? 3 seconds is a mistake. 3 seconds is not, they didn't go, that was a very enjoyable 3 seconds, and I'm moving on. So, okay, so where were we? Fauci. Don't get your infectious disease doctor at a infectious disease doctor mill. Get one from a good breeder. And, he's done really well in shows. He won Best of Show at least a couple times. But here's the other thing about him is that he was in that really weird, uncomfortable position of being part of this administration and standing next to the president while he said stuff that was patently false and in his field. And you know what? He's not a suck-up. He has contradicted Trump right after him and right in front of him. So you got to respect that, because Trump had a new expert on recently. I forget her name, Bix. And I've heard a lot of people talk. She has a great reputation and a great history. And I think she worked on AIDS and maybe, not on the side of AIDS, but on fighting AIDS. It's like all those, let's walk for muscular dystrophy. Really? How about let's walk against muscular dystrophy? Jesus, whose side are you on? She did not. She kind of echoed some of his same comments. And so I do like how he's stood by what he says. Elena said there's a screenshot. I don't know what it was. We need Kaiser. What's a science comedian? And his food. It's 2:14 a.m. in the UK. You're blowing my mind. Science is so awesome. Yay, science. Boy, you guys, thanks. Oh my God, he cursed. Ooh. Tom Turbeville says, is that Joey Walden behind you? Yeah. That is seven years ago, next month, Joey died. He's an amazing artist. I'll show you what some of that looks like at some point. Tom Hester, yeah. Don't cross the streams. Hey, Mark Kaplan. Now there are 2 people watching from Arizona. I am penetrating Arizona. That's a bad choice of words. I am penetrating, me too, Arizona to the tune of 2. How many infections? I have infected Arizona with Elena Levine and Mark Kaplan. Talk amongst yourselves. So yeah, Tom says, miss that guy, and I miss you too, buddy. Ron White's birthday party years ago. Oh yeah, when was that? That was, I don't even remember when that was. quite a long time ago, his 50th birthday. The framed, hey JD, are you still out there? That framed hall pass is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I was in his office at the American Museum of Natural History and we did a live stream. And partway through it, he said, he goes, well, why are people even watching? It's the middle of the afternoon. Shouldn't they be at work or in school or something? Like, he was on a live stream with me, so tech in his office, but not getting much work done, unless you consider outreach on my stream. So he said, I'm gonna make them a hall pass. Like, they should be in class. I'm making them a hall pass. So it says Brian Malow live interview hall pass. And then it has the date, but he was off by one day. And it says Neil deGrasse Tyson. So, and he held it up to the screen. And because Facebook sucks, and I was using the self-facing camera, the text was reversed. But then some enterprising people, just the kind of audience, just like you people, some people took some screenshots of it and then flipped it and sent it back to me. So yeah, Tom Hester, any good COVID-19 jokes? That's a tough one, but there have been a lot of humorous moments, and I do wonder if they'll still be funny in a month. LOL Mark, Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call? I always want to hire smarter. Yeah, Albert, I mean, hire smarter people than you. And that's the smart thing to do. Still no drop frames, 33 minutes, 53 seconds in, 30.2% CPU usage. I'm saying that to myself. I know most of you don't care. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Yeah. I mean, it can be great to act like the smartest person, but so much more interesting to be around smart people. And you know, in fairness, like, you know, people have different kinds of intelligence and different kinds of knowledge. And like, there are a couple areas that I'm a little clever in. I have vast areas of ignorance though. So it's real easy for me to be around smarter people than me in most subjects. In most subjects. In this little narrow band, I can keep up. But there are so many subjects that I'm totally ignorant in, so yeah. Earthshine is beautiful, Dawn. At the Republican National Convention. Hey, yo, Albert, I don't know what that was a response to. Or rescue one from the administration. But when you're buying ads on Facebook, they'll charge you for that 3 seconds. See, that's what they use it for. Like, I think they use it for so they can claim we're getting this many video views. But seriously, 3 seconds is a mistake. It's like, it autoplayed. I want out of here. Or something. Yeah, Bill says Bix's reputation is mud now. Yeah, I've seen some science communicators talking about it, and some were still like, oh, she really is great. But then she went and parroted things and downplayed the need for ventilators, and it was like, come on, that's... I just saw a doctor. Oh, you know who it was? It's the doctor who's the head of the housing authority, Ben. He should just remain in housing because he said some really non-scientific, non-medical bullshit in the past 24 hours or something. And I can't remember what it is because there's such an overwhelming amount of crap that we're taking in every day. But, Heather Archuleta and Frances Marie Lane. If you are watching over on Facebook, I implore you to come on over to my YouTube channel, Science Comedian. And that's where most of the commenting is happening. And if anyone is out there on Periscope or Twitter, thanks for watching. There's a lot of commenting going on YouTube, as you may have heard me say about 7 seconds ago. All right. Ben Carson, yeah, thank you. Takes a Canadian to inform the American of the American. In my experience, Canadians not only know, now maybe I've met a lot of smart Canadians, and but they've always been really knowledgeable about their own nation's history and politics and current affairs. But they've also known world affairs and America's affairs better than most Americans that I know. Now, I know a lot of smart Americans, and most of you are watching right now, and you're knowledgeable and you keep up with stuff. But let's face it, That's not the norm. But, so they'll know more about United States politics than Americans know about Canadian or American. Now, in fairness, if I lived in Canada, I'd be keeping track of what's going on in the United States too. You know what, Darla the Darling, or any other Canadians that are out there? Many years ago, I was performing in Canada right around the first Gulf War, the original, not the remake. Sometimes a director's son will make a remake of a movie that his dad already did. And it was already a costly flop, but they go ahead and remake it anyway. And so the original Gulf War, starring George Bush Sr., during those times, I performed in Canada, and I was headlining a show, and they put 4 or 5 Canadian comedians on in front of me, and they'd be bashing America a little bit. And so I would come on and say, I am an American, face your fears. But then I would explain that I used to live in San Francisco, and that I'm not very, I'm not your typical American. I live in San Francisco, or as we call it, Southern Canada. And now I'm not going to be able to remember this joke, but I was saying that I compared Canada and the United States to like Siamese twins. I don't remember the funny part. I'm paraphrasing a joke, which is rarely going to get any of the humor across. But it was a pretty funny joke that I hope I have recorded somewhere about, it's like, yes, Canada and the United States, it's kind of like having a Siamese twin who's a real asshole and who's always starting shit and dragging you into it. So like my point is, if I was a Canadian, I would probably keep track of American politics too, because you can't go anywhere, our Siamese twin. You are conjoined twin. I think they're only called Siamese twins. You know why? Because of Chang and Ang, right? Jessica Schaefer, thanks for tuning in. And this is pretty much what it is. There will be a special appearance by a cheese stick, because this show is sponsored by Cheese Sticks, the cheese of the future. Also brought to you by Bananas. I always like it when bananas have brand names on it, like, oh wow, Chiquita. They make a damn good banana, don't they? This is Chiquita of Guatemala. The nerve of them to even put their label on a banana. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much did they have to do with this? Let me answer my own question. No, Darla, do you know why there's no potato chips tonight? Can you take a wild guess why there are no potato chips 2 nights after there was a giant bag of potato chips? You just contemplate it for a while and see if you could come up with a reason why there can be no potato chips today, even though there was a giant bag here 2 nights ago that I opened. No, I had a chip clip on it. It had already been opened on Monday, so what are the odds there were going to be potato chips tonight? Truth, Darla, which part? All my Canada stuff? There's Sonex or something like it on the wall to your right. Was that always there, or is this the first night that it's been in the frame? JD, Sonex? On the wall to my right? This is my right. Do you mean this thing? This? Or I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about my Brian May stereoscopic viewer, which is called an owl, because it looks like an owl if you look on it straight on? Are you talking about my little replica of the Red Special, the guitar Brian May and his dad built 50 or 55 years ago, and he's played it through his entire career? Can you imagine building an electric guitar for the first time and then continuing to play it for the rest of your life, and also actually having a serious music career for it? While you contemplate it, just remember, this show is brought to you by Bananas, not necessarily by Chiquita, just the concept of bananas. Here is a little thing that maybe you know. You're so smart that I don't even think I can inform you of anything, you people, because I'm surrounding myself with people that are better informed than me, so I have nothing to offer you. But did you ever see that creationist? His name escapes me. We'll just call him Ben Carson. No, there's this big creationist who they were saying that the banana is proof of God and intelligent design because of how perfectly it's designed to fit in your hand and how you peel it and all that. And the funny thing about him using bananas as the example is that the banana was not really an edible fruit until humans started selectively breeding it. So the banana was not the tasty thing it is. Neither were apples. Apples were very bitter, and until we started breeding them for sweetness and having all these different varieties, they weren't that edible. So this was a bad example for him to use as proof of anything. Like, and then, I mean, what an absurd thing anyway, because it fits in your hand. That's crazy. All right, we have already 4 minutes ago, we have already received 100 messages today with Restream chat. Can I ask you, do you see that message from Restream, or is that just a private message to me? So JD, what was that? What else do you do in this room in regards to recording that you need? That you needed. Are you talking about the foam on the wall? So here's the thing. When I first... This is a bedroom with hardwood floors, and when I emptied it out and painted the walls gray, which it's not obviously gray because there's red light on it, I made a recording of how echoey... Oh no, I can't even access that anymore. Sorry, old app. When this room was empty and hardwood floors, I did some claps, not for sync, but for just to see. It was an unbelievable echo bouncing off the walls. So then I put a little carpet pad and a cheap carpet down. I was on a budget, so I went cheap. But the first rug that I put in here, I bought from someone used, and it was terrible. It was like this thickly wrought, I don't know what you call it. You'll notice a lot of words. I think I used to have access to more words, but in my old age, I can't come up with some words. But this was like this woven thing with a thick weave, and it was really uncomfortable on my feet. And I was barefoot in here sometimes, or even like today. I have slippers on. And I have pants on. I don't have to even have, I could be wearing a halter top for all you know. But I actually am basically fully clothed. And it was really hard on the feet. It was not comfortable. So I had to get rid of, that was one expense, and I had to just get rid of it. I hated it. And then I bought a carpet pad and an inexpensive kind of thin carpet, and I laid it down, and then I put I have some of this kind of stuff. These I haven't put up yet, so they're just standing here right now. But on the ceiling and in other places, because I'm doing some other recording, and I needed to remove the echo. So I've been making these videos. In fact, that's one thing, we're gonna roll one clip, because I don't know how many of you saw, I released a new video today, so let's watch that. It's only about 4 minutes, and it doesn't have an intro, it gets right into it, and it is about how cooking, heating, and freezing food might affect the coronavirus, and does it kill it? And the heating maybe probably does, but you'll hear, he qualifies his answer. But I think the part about freezing is kind of funny. And then also, talked about disinfectants. And the EPA, in the video, in the description below the video on YouTube, and on my Facebook version, I shared this link to the EPA, because they have a list of 200 disinfectants that are approved for use against viruses, and including this virus. So that might be good to know if you want to know what disinfectants. So I included the link in the description. So no potato chips tonight. Ashley, hi Darla. Or is that another Canadian? Is Ashley a friend of yours, Darla? Is Metallica the best music to science to, or is it Black Sabbath and Metallica? You sound a little biased, X, but, you know, I think you should science to some Queen music, because how many bands have a masterful guitarist beloved by Metallica and very friendly? One of his best pals is Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. They pal around together sometimes. I've seen them both share it on their Instagram accounts. They're little buddies. But how many rock and roll bands have a guitarist with a PhD in astrophysics? I'll tell you how many. Brian May and Queen is how many. And I don't even care if there's any others. There's no band of that stature that has that. And Metallica did a cover of one really rockin' Queen song from their third album, 1974's Sheer Heart Attack, Stone Cold Crazy. If you like Metallica, go listen to Metallica's cover of it. But then listen to the original Queen version, because it is better, as is often the case. Metallica, it's great that they covered it. I think they even played it at... Did they play it Live Aid? Did they do... I think they did it at Live Aid. Or, not Live Aid. I'm sorry. The tribute to Freddie Mercury. That other big event. After Freddie Mercury passed away, they had a tribute show with tons of participants playing with the surviving Queen members. And I think James Hetfield, at least, joined them in saying Stone Cold Crazy, and then probably some Metallica songs. So, ooh, cheese sticks. Ashley. No, that's right, Ashley. Cheese. And then I thought, just because I haven't really eaten, I've been busy, I also brought some generic dry roasted peanuts. They're generic. They say Food Lion, but come on. Food Lion, you got to do better on your branding. It may as well say the word generic for how all out they went on. How much did you pay a designer to come up with this? And then, because I brought one piece of content or two to actually discuss something beyond my rambling. Oh! We now have 14 dropped frames for those of you keeping score at home, and we just jumped up to 33.4% CPU usage, but it dropped down again. We're 49 minutes in. Are we still in sync? Hi Darla, hi Ashy. You celebrated International Potato Day too hard? Yeah, you understand. Mark Kaplan, in sports news, Wimbledon is canceled. Yeah, you know, it seems like they could still have the tennis match, but just no audience, because tennis is a socially distant sport. Baseball and football, not so much. Soccer/football, not so much. It's the fans that are the problem. But tennis, it seems like you could have a tennis match, but of course they want the audience. But everyone would be watching on TV. Dawn, the foam rubber stuff. Yeah. So you got my explanation. It's like it was necessary to deaden the sound in here because it's too echoey. And if you want good audio, yeah. So I intend to do a lot more recording in here. And the more of that I get on the walls, the better. Like, that's not really enough. But it was 4 blank walls, hardwood floor, blank ceiling. Now there's a bunch of stuff on the ceiling, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really big panels this size. This size. See, it keeps going. Look at this. It's like the opening shot of Star Wars. You know, when a little ship goes by and then the ship chasing it comes by and it goes like this. And then when you think it's over, it's not over. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And that's about how big it is. So, oops. These, I lost my momentum and I stopped putting them up and they've just been laying around. But I have to actually get some more. And the more I deaden the sound, the better the audio will be. Because I care about you, JD. Why are you questioning me? You're not my real dad. Dawn has 3 owls, so I must have 3 owls or so too, because there's one that came in every book that Brian May's Stereoscopic Publishing Company, the London Stereoscopic Company, has included them in their stereo books. Brian rocks. I know you're a fan. Ken Ham. Ken Ham is a big spreader of creationist bullshit. But I'm trying to think if he's the guy in the videos I'm thinking of. Is he actually, James, did he make this banana video? You could look that up. There's this banana video. Oh my God, just since I brought it out and touching it, it's changed color even more. You're peeling it upside down. You're supposed to peel it from the stumpy end, eh? Okay, so I want to share a joke that I think about every single time I eat a banana. And I always credit where credit is due. Very funny comedian, Lori Kilmartin, and she's really funny on Twitter. If you follow her on Twitter, I don't know her handle, but it's Lori Kilmartin. And she had a very funny joke. She goes, if I married Martin Sheen, my name would be Lori Kilmartin Sheen. And, but she's a hilarious comedian and writer. And the joke that I'll always remember the Lori Kilmartin Sheen joke. And she goes, when you get to the end of a banana and you get to the end part, the banana's anus, the bananas. That's the joke. And I think of it every single time. You get to the end of the banana's anus, the bananas. And I'm saying it twice because I think of it every single time I eat a banana. When I get to the end, I think of the banana's anus, the bananas. And now I want to impart that to you. Aren't you glad you tuned in tonight? That message was only to me, Denise. Interesting. Queen only. Dawn, good Sabbath Queen connection. Yeah. There's a lot of respect back and forth. So two guitarists that really respect and like each other, and they hang out. Did you ever see when Brian posted, there was some clip, I don't know who took pictures of them, where they were walking in a field. It was almost romantic. It's best to science to Black Sabbath, according to Darla, because you can celebrate a time when you could bite a bat and not infect the planet. Not your joke. Okay. I was at the tribute. Dawn, you went to the tribute concert? Metallica were there, Enter Sandman. And am I right? They did play, of course they played Stone Cold Crazy, didn't they? Because they had already done a cover of it. And you can hear a live version of it. You can find that. But the Queen version is better. It's just better. Brian didn't get his PhD until long after the Best of Queen. So, what's your point, man? You know what? He was already studying astrophysics, and he did have a co-authored paper in Nature, which is one of the most prestigious places to get your papers published. He had a co-authored astrophysics paper in Nature pre-Queen or the beginning of Queen, before he quit his studies to focus on Queen. He would have had his PhD first, and his dad wanted him to, but he wanted to do the music thing, and then they got this band together and they seemed like they might be pretty good, and it turned out they were. So when he had a minute, he went ahead and finished his PhD. Net Reamer, you're close to being banned. That's strike one. I don't like your lack of, or your, somebody fill in the blank for me. What about Bad Religion? Yeah, they have a band member who has a PhD in zoology. Zoology? I almost have a PhD in zoology and I've never even studied it. I've been to the zoo. What does it take? Is that, what else does it take? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know Bad Religion very well, and I always hear him referenced and references. Is that what it is, a PhD in zoology? I actually think that's super cool. Obviously, I was being sarcastic. Accidental question mark. They have a band member who has a PhD in zoology? Regarding tennis, you need judges, ball people. You could scratch the ball people. Tech people, lots of support. That's true, but the thing is, even the judges and the two players, maybe you can't play doubles, but singles tennis, you're the judge and even the ball person, you're socially distant. That's okay. And the tech people, where are they? Somewhere else. The camera people, these people, what I'm saying is it's only the crowd that's crowded together. But yeah, Ray Comfort is the guy. Hi from Liverpool, David Davies. Oh, watching on Periscope. Tonight you are, if you're still out there, David Davies, are you related to Ray Davies? And you're from Liverpool? Are you related to the Beatles? You're our first commenter from Periscope tonight. I wish there was a prize for you, but we didn't play. Here's what I'm going to give you. Can somebody do a math? Can someone do a quick calculation for me? What is 1,000 divided by 45? I know it's about 20. It's a little more than 20. But what is it? Is it like 22? A little over 22. Am I right? 1,000 divided by 45. Ken and Ray are of the same ilk. Ray Comfort. Oh, Ray Comfort. Exactly. But yeah, Ray Comfort and Ken Ham are peas in a pod. Created by God. William Pack, there was an actor from some 80s or 90s show, Growing Pains, that made a banana video. Yep, that's one of the Corys. It's not Corey Feldman, it's Corey Haim. No, you're right. It's Kirk Cameron. Who's Corey Haim? Those people, they're all the same, and they're all crisis actors. Kimberly, oh my God, what have I walked in on? I don't know what you first heard, but you missed a lot. Roll back the tape for Kimberly. You're thinking of Kirk Cameron. Okay, Kirk Cameron, did you just say something about a banana? Yeah, they did Stone Cold Crazy. Hi, Kim from Bill. The answer is really that Brian already had the mind of a PhD. I don't know what that's the answer to. My attitude is a function of antisocial distancing. Netreamer, yeah. Yeah. James, tennis, too much heavy breathing. That's true. You couldn't have Martina Navratilova pumping out virus particles like that. Plus, they might have shortness of breath if they're actually infected. Mark, plus qualifying tournaments are canceled that determine who gets invites. Badminton is greater than tennis. Fight me on it, says Darla. 22.222, so not bad. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Natalie, thanks for tuning in, and Kimberly. And Corey Haim was Rudy, that's true. Did Corey Haim die, or he's just dead to you? Sean Astin was Rudy. But Sean Astin and Corey Haim might be the same person. Paul is dead. Carol Ann, Chuck Pell, Vincent Truman. I don't know if you guys are still watching, but as always, I'm begging you, all this commenting, if you've heard me reading comments, it's all happening over on YouTube. I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. And so it's beneficial to me if you watch on YouTube instead of Facebook. Same stream, same thing happening right now. And all this commenting is live chatting, mostly happening over there. So I would invite you to come over there. But as I said, see, as more and more people tune in, it's people smarter than me. Corey Haim was in Lost Boys. No, that was Sean Astin. No, I'm kidding. No, that was Martin Sheen's son. Damn it. From 24. Wow. Kiefer Sutherland. Oh, that's not Martin Sheen's. Charlie Sheen? Who's the half brother? Because Kiefer Sutherland is Donald Sutherland's son. Who is the other half brother of Charlie Sheen? Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland was in that. Lost Boys was great. So, the reason I asked you that is another thing that I wanted to rant about sometime was this I hate real really, hold on. I'm losing connection here and there. Emilio Estevez. Emilio, same for me, Kim. Losing connection, really? You know, I am using my Wi-Fi, but it's been a solid, and I really should be hardwired. And it's possible. The router is just in the other room, and all I need is a hole in one wall to bring the cable through. And I do mean to do that eventually, but the Wi-Fi's been pretty solid. Albert, if you're out there, or Susan, could you ask Albert this? Maybe some, NetReamer, what's the bandwidth typically of Wi-Fi compared to being hardwired into my router? Am I sacrificing bandwidth? I know that it's not going to be as stable and you can drop the Wi-Fi connection, so it should be more stable. But am I really sacrificing bandwidth by being on Wi-Fi instead of hardwired? The lighting is better tonight? Great. Yeah, I'm thinking of signing up for AOL. No, here's what I want to say. This side, because there's too much stuff going on the other side. This is a relic. This is something I've been carrying around for a long time, but it's representative of a kind of advertising that I really hate. This is such bullshit, because you know what? Look, they would send these and look. Oh, and then here's a completely different one, just a separate one. Oh, I mean, look at that. Ooh, how can you not sign up? How can you not sign up? And you see at the top, 1,000 hours free. 1,000 hours free. And probably too small for you to read. Right there. 1,000 hours free. They're blasting 1,000 hours free. And and then all of this kaleidoscope business. And then in small letters it says, for 45 days. All right. This one is really hidden, but this one too. 1,000 free hours. 1,000 for 45 days. All right. In order to get 1,000 free hours in 45 days, you would have to be online, and this was when we had dial-up. You would have to be online for 22 hours every day, 22.222 hours every day for 45 days. Then you can get 1,000 free hours. But in all likelihood, this was in dial-up days. So if you got your computer online with your modem, you can't use your phone. You're using it as the modem. And so, in all likelihood, back in those days, we were not online all the time. Back in those days, we were, like, maybe you'd get online for a few hours. Let's say you got online for 6 hours, which is really absurd. No one was online for 6 hours back then. 6 hours times 45 is 240 plus 30, 270. If you spent 6 hours online every single day for 45 days, you would get 207. If you spent 12 hours every day for 45 days at the dial-up speeds, and there was nothing to do for 12 hours a day, then you would get at 45 days 540 hours. So to say 1,000 hours free for 45 days is such bullshit and such a lie, so disingenuous that I don't know what to say about it, but I want to keep talking about it. It's bullshit, I'll say again. Like, what a lie. This is the kind of I just hate that. Do you not hate that? 1,000 free hours. We are giving you 1,000 free hours. There is absolutely no way you'll get 1,000 free hours. They're giving you a couple hundred free hours if you use it obsessively every single day for 45 hours. So, yeah. Emilio Estevez, yeah. It sounded wrong. And I'm thinking of signing up for AOL because of that lie. So when was this? Is there even somewhere on here? Oh, you know what? I can't sign up. The disc is missing. I don't have the disc. I never did do AOL. I never did sign up for it. Isn't there a date on here anywhere? There, 2001. Okay, so and then it even repeats, your 1,000-hour trial must be used within 45 days of initial sign-in. To avoid being charged a monthly fee, simply cancel before trial period ends. Simply cancel. Yeah, it's simple. Just call us up and cancel. Just see how easy that is. 45 days later. Your 1,000-hour trial must be completed in 45 hours. So 2001. So, okay, everyone wasn't on dial-up in 2001 because in 99 and 2000, some people had DSL. I was doing a live streaming show and some people, so I went out again. That is very frustrating. So could it be on your end or did it go out for everyone? You can wire 10 gigabits per second. You don't need anywhere near that. No, but what about on Wi-Fi? What's the bandwidth of my Wi-Fi? And I'm on one. I don't know if this means anything. What does it even mean if my router has a 5 gigahertz channel as well, like a normal channel, and I'm on the 5 gigahertz channel? So NetReamer and Albert, that was my real question. Wi-Fi is plenty, but the Wi-Fi could fluctuate in a way that being hardwired doesn't. The moon is on. It may not look like it because there's a light shining, but the moon is on. Stan Lewis, come over to youtube.com/sciencecomedian come over to my YouTube channel, same stream. All this fascinating chatting, it's happening over there. You had AOL, but you don't remember paying for it, Bill? I black screened, but the chat stayed. Again. Let me ask you, everyone else, is everyone experiencing that? Because Kimberly experienced it, and so did... Oh, Dawn, good night. Maybe I missed you, but I think Darla also experienced it. I didn't see or hear a drop. Good. So... Darla, mine is 48 megabits per second unwired and 300 megabits per second on your wired box. I can do a speed test, and I have, and I upload. It's fine here. You don't see what, Bill? Any problems or issues? 48 versus 300. Modern Wi-Fi should be very stable. Multiple active channels, 5 gigahertz band should avoid interference. So it doesn't seem like I've had a problem on these. I just don't want that to be, the weak link. Because I can run a network cable. I just need to put one little hole in a wall or in a closet even. And the router is just, that's the other thing though. The router is just the other side of that thin wall. So I don't know if I need to be wired. I'm a little wired. Okay, so Stan, thank you for coming over, Stan. And let me tell you why. All my personal appearances have been canceled. In fact, one was just canceled 2 days ago. I still had 1 gig on the books and it was for July. Listen, hey, Darla, I've also been to Sudbury, Ontario, to visit the neutrino detector, SNOLAB, SNOLAB. It's a neutrino detector in an active nickel mine about a mile or 1.5 kilometers underground. And I performed at the Above Ground Museum, and I got to go down. Hey, Mike Strong, thanks for tuning in, and even on Facebook. Old comedian friend of mine, Mike Strong. I was going to tell you that my final gig canceled. So I've been to one neutrino detector. Neutrinos are very difficult to detect. There are just trillions of them streaming through us right now from the sun. Others come from other stars in outer space. But tons of neutrinos come from the sun. They pass right, they hardly interact with matter at all. The bar joke I wrote for neutrinos is a neutrino walks into a bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve neutrinos in this bar." The neutrino says, "Hey, I was just passing through." And I could have explained it first, but they say like a neutrino could pass through a light year of lead if you had a light year of lead. And odds are it would not interact with, it would pass right through it without interacting with any atoms. So, however, it's a statistical thing. It's a probability thing. Because there's trillions of them, some of them do occasionally interact with a particle, and the interaction causes a flash of light and can be detected. So neutrino detectors, there's several kinds, but one way to do it is to go like a mile underground in a mine, and that way you've blocked out everything else. All other kinds of radiation you've pretty much blocked out so that your signal to noise ratio is good. And then they have these giant detectors that are filled with heavy water, an isotope of H2O. But it's like, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. And they have a huge device, and occasionally, and it's just a probability thing, because there's so many trillions of them, occasionally one does interact and there's a flash and they detect it, and there's information to be gained from the observation. And so I was invited a few months ago to perform at Neutrino Day at a different neutrino detector. So the one in Sudbury, Ontario is in an active nickel mine. And when you go down in the cage with miners, M-I-N-E-R-S. They're adults, these miners. These miners are adults, and they're miners. They're big burly men. They are men. And I think they were exclusively men, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong about that. Predominantly male. And anyway, you go down in this cage, takes a while to go down a mile, and then you trudge through this excavated tunnel that has these railroad tracks, because those same kind of like manual carts that go along them, and you trudge along this tunnel for a while, and then the miners go on to the part where the mine is actively being mined, and then we turned left and went into this place where they carved out the lab, and then you go through take a shower and clean room, put on a clean suit. And anyway, that was an awesome experience there. Near Rapid City, close to Rapid City, South Dakota, where Mount Rushmore is, there's another underground neutrino detector. It's in a former gold mine, not active. And they have a neutrino day, and I was gonna perform at this event above ground, but down in the mine, I was gonna be on a radio show, and it was so cool. And it wasn't until July, mid or early July, and it just canceled a couple days ago. And that's my final gig on the books. And this is all to say, if you're still with me, Stan Lewis, I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. Maybe I could monetize it one day, but I gotta get a lot more views, a lot more watched hours. So it's very beneficial to me, if you're watching, to like this video, to watch the video. I love you interacting and commenting, but it also would benefit me if you muted me and let it play on YouTube. On Facebook, it doesn't help me. So I'm encouraging people to leave, if you're watching on Facebook, Jennifer Han Rennie. I messed up your consonants. Jennifer, come on over to YouTube. Didn't I get you to come over to YouTube before? Science Comedian is my channel. So Stan, that's why it really benefits me if you'll watch any videos on my YouTube channel, if you like any videos, if you like these live streams, and any of you watching, it really helps me. Okay, Stan, Mike, James, I doubt your connection from your rig to the router is causing the problems that some people are experiencing, right? It could also be right. It's like I could be fine from here to the router, but sometimes the internet is bad in and out of the house. It could be that or anywhere. You know what? I'd be. Aren't you a little surprised that that the internet is holding up as well as it is? It's like it will be fascinating to see the data of how much more live streaming is going on. So video live streaming. I would think that there will be things to write about internet usage during this time of quarantine and in the days of the virus. You know, right there towards the end of mankind's reign on Earth. Kimberly's on an Android. Would that do it? I mean, it shouldn't. Using data, not Wi-Fi. Oh, using data, not Wi-Fi. Well, you know, so there, it could be anywhere between here and there. So it could have been your connection. Although when you said it, I think Darla also experienced it. That's a little odd. And she's in Canada and you're in Michigan? Kimberly, yeah, it could. And since it's only some and not all people having the issue at the exact same time, points to an issue somewhere between Brian's router and your device. James says there could be a large number of hops between you two, and the other person who's also having the issue could be sharing a... Right, so, yes, you could be sharing some of the path that Darla is getting the signal from could be the same as yours. Yeah, there could have been an issue anywhere along the way. Let me ask you, do you know, at any point do these signals go up to satellites? Or are they all ground-based? I mean, ultimately, if they go overseas, are they using underwater cables or are satellites involved? Could be a large number of hops. Stan, thank you. Natalie, changing topics. Whose autograph is that behind you? I actually already talked about this once, but I'll tell you that that's Neil deGrasse Tyson, but not just because it's his autograph, but because we did a live stream from his office at the American Museum of Natural History, and during it, he said, why are people even watching in the middle of the afternoon? Shouldn't they be in school or work or something? He goes, I'm gonna make them a hall pass. So it says, Brian Malow, live interview hall pass, and it's dated, and it says Neil deGrasse Tyson. And he held it up to the screen so that anyone watching could have a hall pass. And then it was just on a piece of paper. In fact, the paper it was on, he grabbed something. There was an event at the American Museum of Natural History, and it had something to do with wine. He's a big wine guy, wino. And the event had something to do with pairing wine, and there was probably a science communication aspect to it, and it was like the agenda for it or something, and he wrote it on the back, and then it was tossed aside. But before I left, I took it with me, because I thought it was a funny memento of not just his autograph, but this funny moment that he created on my stream. And if you're curious, you know what? I should upload that to YouTube. That's crazy that there's so many things. I've got a lot of live streamed videos that are residing on Facebook and nowhere else. And Facebook isn't even like designed to, you know how old content, it's pretty much gone. Like YouTube, go to my channel, you can scroll and see all sorts of old stuff. I'm gonna tidy it up with more playlists, but you know, you can very easily see all the old content. And Facebook is so of the moment. So it's hard to find my old, except that on my Science Comedian Brian Malow fan page, I pinned it. So you might be able to find it. Kimberly, I watch a live from Colorado that's usually clear. Well. I heard your tone in there too. I hear you. It's all ground-based. Just did it again. It didn't this much on the other lives. I wonder why it's different now. I think your internet is infected with the coronavirus. It would be too slow via satellite. The one from Italy, is it on YouTube yet? No, but it is on my Science Comedian Brian Malow fan page. If you go there and scroll down, it should be near the top, because when it happened, I pinned it, and then I never pinned anything else. So, but I mean, brace yourself. It's about an hour of me and Neil rambling. But that was kind of fun. No tone, LOLOL. I like LOLOL, and it kind of looks like 10101. I want you to get this perfect, that's all. I appreciate that. Yeah, you've been very, so the idea here too is this should evolve. It's a scary word for Ken Ham and his other jerk friend, but into like something a little more of a show. And I'm gonna start experimenting with a new software package. I've said that a lot. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and work with it. But maybe I don't need to. You know what? When I first started streaming with this one, I didn't know anything about it. I just got it to where I could go live, and I still haven't played with all the little things, like I could pull up a lower third, but I do have some stuff queued up. And one thing I have queued up is my new video. Why don't we take a break? It's only 4 minutes, and I'll show you the video that just went public today, and it's the final short video with a food safety professor from North Carolina State University. His name is Ben Chapman. He has a couple podcasts. I think one is called Risky or Not, and another one that's like a food safety podcast. That might be the name of it. But oh, by the way, let's one more time for those of you that are just tuning in, and all the times I talk about sync issues. Steve Vai, guitarist extraordinaire, is doing live streams on Facebook, and check this out. The first thing he says on this live stream.
Hey folks, I'm back. Hoping that the sync is a little better. I'm doing this on my laptop, and we're just kind of.
That's really it. But so he was having sync issues too. So it's not just me, it's international rock star Steve Vai, with Grammys and Grammy nominations and some 15 million records sold. He was having some sync issues too. I want this. Ideally, the show should have some different segments. Like, we'll talk a little news. We'll have some chat like this. We'll have some interviews. I play some interview clips. Like, I have some Alan Stern clips queued up. But actually, it's the old version, because I just worked on this one. The way I have the clip, it's just us side by side, but I did some editing on it to make it look prettier. So, if you're still out there, are you still out there? Oh!
Hey folks, I'm back. Hoping that the sync is a little better.
Had a little accident there. Is everything still good? I dropped my device that I used to switch, and it went ahead and switched. You didn't need to apologize, Stan, because you didn't even know, but thank you for coming over here. They say Steve Vai has a 12-hour practice routine. It shows. Oh yeah, there aren't that many of you out there. Maybe, you want to see this? It's 4 minutes. Let's run it, and then we'll wrap up soon, because we've been going a long time. But also, I want to get in the habit of playing stuff like this. So here's just a bit of my conversation with a food safety expert about the effect of cooking and freezing against the coronavirus. Do we know how hot something has to be cooked to kill the virus? Does freezing have an effect on the virus?
So it's a really great question. And this is another one where it's like, all we know, it's like the caveat of this, all we know is based on other illnesses and similar illnesses, other coronaviruses. And so there was a paper that was published in 2013, I think it was 2013, that looked at inactivation of coronaviruses at certain heats. And what I can say is that those ones, not COVID-19, but those other coronaviruses, heat at a very specific temperature for a pretty good amount of time. So heating something to 149 Fahrenheit or 65 degrees Celsius for 3 minutes gave a 5 log reduction. So a 5 times 10 fold, so it's like 10,000 fold reduction of the virus particles in 3 minutes. That's different than what we would say for like salmonella and chicken, where I could say cook it to 165 and you'll get that same reduction of salmonella instantly. We don't have data to extrapolate that. So probably the hotter it gets, the better. But literally today, we don't have that data, and we certainly don't have it on COVID-19. So
And what about
that's
freezing on those E. coli and salmonella, which those aren't viruses, those are bacteria?
yeah,
Or-
yeah. So
And on the related coronaviruses, what's the effect of freezing?
So here's the like bad news on freezing, I guess, is in a laboratory, we freeze pathogens to preserve them. Like that's what we do. We suspend them in something and we freeze them so we can then do analysis, we can grow them later, we can preserve those cells. Freezing actually has very little effect microbially, and on viruses almost none at all. So it's definitely not a protective process. So I mean that's one of the things that we do pretty extensively is
So
freeze.
freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing you haven't asked about.
So if we want to preserve the virus, we might think of
Yeah.
freezing, but not killing
Yeah.
it.
One thing that you haven't talked about or asked about is, well, what can we do? And what we do know is that alcohol sanitizers are really effective against this virus and these types of viruses. That there are a whole bunch of compounds that we use in disinfectants that are also good for other coronaviruses, and we believe are also good for COVID-19. Again, we're in this gap of we just identified this. We haven't had the time to actually grow and do the experiments to test to see what can really kill it. All we're doing is going on our best available science, which is on something similar but not the same. But EPA has a list of disinfectants that I think new numbers over 200 now that they say this is registered for efficacy in coronaviruses. So if we're going to use something on this list.
So as that says that I'm producing these videos in partnership with Sigma Xi. They're the Scientific Research Honor Society, and I'm very friendly with them. They're based here in Research Triangle Park in the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area. And oh, by the way, I had just enough time during that video to eat most of the banana, but I got down to the very end, the banana's anus, the bananas. That's a joke I will always remember by Lori Kilmartin, a hilarious comedian and writer. Find her on Twitter, Lori Kilmartin. She says if she married Martin Sheen, her name would be Lori Kilmartin Sheen. She used to be a San Francisco comedian at the same time I was, and now she's in LA or New York or something. She's hilarious. So James, you also dropped the signal? VPN hiccup, because always VPN. So you all, okay. Why do you use a VPN? Are you doing, is there something you're doing that you'd like to keep secret, or is it just sort of philosophical? You don't need anyone tracking your every move when you're on the internet, even no matter what you're doing. But all right, so I think we did a good job, people. Who's out there anymore? We played a couple videos. We learned that Steve Vai also is having sync issues. Not the kind of sync issues that you would call a plumber for, but the kind of sync issues that you would just bitch and moan a lot about and call the IT desk. Is anyone out there a fan of the IT crowd? That hilarious old Susan. Okay, you're out there. What are you guys doing? Are you still driving or did you get home? Elizabeth still hanging out. And security. Oh, yeah, security. Can you elaborate on that? I've never used a VPN and I don't honestly know that much about it. I'm stronger in the natural sciences. Physics, astronomy, all the physics, some biology and chemistry and stuff. Not great in chemistry. I have trauma surrounding chemistry because I was pre-med, and organic chemistry. I have a little PTSD about organic chemistry, but because I was always a good student, and then organic was hard because my heart wasn't in it, and your heart has to be in it when it gets to that. Darla, you like the IT crowd? That guy, and the guy that plays Moss, he is so funny. Just everything he does is so funny, but what a great show. Quiz night? James Thorne, except for the writer. We're at home eating chicken tikka and part of a muffaletta. So that's what you just were driving home with? Were you hard-earned, hard-won? Alice Johnson. Alice Johnson? Is that an IT crowd reference that I'm missing? Because of my poor memory? You know what this reference is? Rock, paper, scissors. Turtle, Spock, turtle. What is it? Everything is encrypted across a VPN. So if someone's playing a man-in-the-middle attack, it's much harder to gather info. Yeah. Oh, Alice Johnson. That's right. Oh, say, you're flashing back to our high school. So my friend Albert and I, we went to junior high and high school together. And yeah, Mrs. Johnson was our chemistry teacher. And who was that? Was it a math teacher? Mrs. Bradford? Yeah. But Mrs. Johnson, yeah. I wouldn't have remembered her first name, I guess. But chemistry, yeah, I was good at chemistry in high school, and then I was pretty good in the first intro chemistry classes in college. But then organic was hard, and by then I knew that I didn't want to be pre-med and that my parents wanted me to. And so you have to, lizard, what did I say, turtle? Lizard, just think of Mitch McConnell, or is that a turtle? It's not even fair to compare any of God's beautiful creatures to Mitch McConnell, that wretch. You know what? Has anyone here read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley? It's a great book. It's a great read. I first had to read it in high school, but I've read it several times. And one thing, this would be, if anyone has a digital copy of Frankenstein, speak up now or forever hold your peace. Who's a jackass? Smart lady, she had her hands full with our class. Yeah, she did. He's a jackass. Susan, who's a jackass? Oh, yeah, Mitch McConnell, of course. The original jackass. Still only 14 dropped frames. For those keeping score, we're at 1 hour 35. Albert, here's how right you are. I don't remember how long I think we were about an hour or so in when I said I wanted to wrap up, and you said that means another 50 minutes. There's a few extra minutes at the beginning and the end that I wasn't really on screen, but it was 2.5 hours. It was 2 hours and 33. So maybe it was just shy of 2.5 hours of me actually talking. Love it all, William. I was watching Black Adder the other day. Yeah. Oh, Darla, I'm a huge fan of British TV. Big Fat Quiz, Would I Lie to You? I don't really know all those. What I love is, obviously Monty Python and even Benny Hill when I was young. I don't remember Benny Hill as well. Monty Python. Oh, my God. What about that Mitchell and Webb look and Peep Show? If you don't know these, they're on Amazon or Netflix. And I highly recommend them. The same two guys, comedy duo, are in both of these. That Mitchell and Webb look, if you don't know that show, you might know this one sketch because it's been going around ever since the last presidential election. There's this scene where there are these like Nazis, and then one of them is asking the other, like, are we the baddies? That's that Mitchell and Webb look. It's a sketch comedy show, and it's so brilliantly funny. And they also have this show that's more of a sitcom called Peep Show. And I don't think I finished that series. The great thing about British television is, like, each series doesn't have very many episodes, and they don't go that many seasons. So I want to go back to Peep Show. I actually watched the first episode again recently, but the way I discovered it, I wasn't that knowledgeable in British TV shows, but I was on an international flight, and it was a Virgin Atlantic flight. And in the media options, I saw this show called Peep Show, and it just looked interesting, so I checked it out, and it was great. So I highly recommend Peep Show. Darla, do you know those? Yeah, Mike's Peep Show. It's either on Amazon or Netflix currently, and I don't know where you can find That Mitchell and Webb Look. I think that's the name of it. I don't know that that's available on Netflix or Amazon, but Peep Show is very funny, and you know, don't give up on it. Give it a few episodes and see if you don't fall in love with it, because it's dirty and it's funny. And you know what? I watched the first couple episodes of a show on Amazon or Netflix, Fleabag. And Darla, have you seen Fleabag? Because I got to start it over because she's hilarious. And that's a very bawdy show. It's great. Okay, Darla, Frankenstein, no digital copy. I went 56 minutes. I think I went even longer, but you were probably keeping track. David Mitchell is on Would I Lie to You? Hilarious. He's very funny, and so is the other guy. QI is great fun. I haven't seen it enough. David Mitchell's so damn funny. The Mighty Boosh, you know, I've only seen a little bit of it, and I didn't quite get it, but maybe I need to see more sometime. Mark Kaplan, which one is hilarious? Which show? But the IT Crowd, oh my God, I love that show. And the guy that plays Moss, he's so funny. And every little thing he does is just hilarious to me. Okay, so, Frankenstein, the thing I was going to say that it would be great to find a digital copy, because digital books, I don't use it. I read regular books. And I never have totally bonded with, I haven't gotten an ebook reader, and I've never really done ebooks. But can you search on a word and find every instance of it? I think you can. Because from the first time I read it, it's like, oh my God, it's a great book. Mary Shelley's the author. But she uses the word wretch so many times, like this, the creature isn't the monster that Boris Karloff played in the first movie, which that's classic too. But he was way more human looking, but you know, he was stitched together from body parts of corpses, and I think he's called a wretch by other people, and he thinks of himself as a wretch. I think he uses it a lot. And he also, unlike the Boris Karloff movie monster Frankenstein, the Mary Shelley Frankenstein is quite intelligent and eloquent and narrates a lot of or most of the story. It's also really interesting because there's like a story within a story and maybe within a story, and like nested, like Russian Doll, another funny show, but not British. Yeah, we have a weird, Richard Ayoade. Yeah, he is so funny. You know, he had an independent film. Is it something submarine or something about a submarine? One of our submarines is missing. Does anyone know that song? Name the artist. One of our submarines is missing. Yeah, the word wretch. Do you remember that? I remember it's like, Jesus, every page has the word wretch. So I've always thought, since the advent of ebooks, it would be interesting to search on it and see how many times. And I think there's one other thing, but wretch is in there a lot. And I think there's one other thing that stood out in that same kind of way as kind of funny. But it's a great book. And it's so different from the movie monster. Like, I grew up with those monsters. But he's not a monster. He is really intelligent. He didn't ask to be created and pieced together from pieces of corpses. And but he's got a pretty good brain. Not like young Frankenstein, where the brain was abnormal. Life After Death. Ricky Gervais. Yeah, you know, Mark Kaplan. Yeah, a yellow sub. It's not a yellow submarine. And Jody Liz said Steve Skolnick just turned me on to Fleabag. Hilarious. Yeah, you know what? I don't know her name either, but British comedic actress. She's really good at talking to the camera. She's in a scene here and breaking the fourth wall, and she's in a scene here, and then she gives a little look to the camera. She's really good. She's very good at it. Richard Ayoade has a show called Gadget Man. Yeah, but I watched this one. I started to watch this one movie, but I didn't even get very far. It was probably Netflix or Amazon. Putting on the Ritz from Young Frankenstein. Yeah, so wait, what was I just going to say? The Monsters, Fleabag, Wretch. Darla, how do you know? And what other forms are there? Wretched. I thought you didn't have an ebook. How did you get that information? I'm curious. But 64 times, and it's not even a very long book. Hold on. I feel like it's here. These aren't all of my books. This isn't even... Huh. Those are science books. Those are sci-fi. I kind of thought I had it here. Oh, it could be way... Nope. Never mind. Stand down, everybody. False alarm. False alarm. Google, Brian. What do you mean? What did you Google? How many times is the word wretch? Does the word wretch appear in Frankenstein? And you're going to trust that answer just off Google, off the internet like that? No, I need an ebook to search for it. All right. Let's see if anyone new has tuned in over on, oh, that's so weird. When I flip over to Facebook, it's still playing that video. That I played, there it is. Nope, it's way behind. There it is. Now it looks like it caught up. Maybe no one's watching over there. Maybe just one viewer. So I've encouraged people to come over here, and I've killed my stuff. But yeah, I think that was. What else was I saying? That it's not I grew up with monster movies, and I love the original Frankenstein movie. That's awesome too. But the book is so different. And I don't think anyone's done. Has there really been a good faithful adaptation? I remember there was one with Robert De Niro as the monster. But who's the real monster? But it ends with Dr. Frankenstein and the wretch. One of them chasing the other across Antarctica or something. Is it the North or South Pole? I don't remember. What is this Google you speak of? Oh yeah, Richard Ayoade, Fleabag. Yeah, Fleabag I need to watch. So yeah. Oh, I know. It was Ricky Gervais is the thread that I dropped that was nagging, but I didn't know what it was. I watched that right when it came out. Is that on Netflix or Amazon? It's called Life After Death. And I won't give you any spoilers. The premise is, right from the beginning, basically that his wife died of cancer. And he's a kind of unlikable wretch. And once the one person that loved him and he loved is dead and died miserably and slowly of cancer, but she left him a lot of messages, but behind his back, she recorded a lot of video messages for him. So that's background. And so during the show, there are these messages where she's telling him, you got to go out and date and you can't give up on life kind of stuff. But he's hating life because the only thing that brought him joy is dead, and he doesn't like other people, and he's miserable and he's mean. And so every episode, and it's only 6 episodes probably, half-hour episodes, And maybe, I think there's another season coming, but there's one season out right now. And I mean, it's not exactly a comedy. There's humor in every episode, but there's tear jerk. I think I cried a little in every episode too. I laughed and cried, I think, in every episode. Ricky Gervais, Life After Death. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Thank you, Natalie. Denise, I'm still playing. What do you mean, over on Facebook? Why are you over on Facebook? That was 64. When I'm 64. Wait, is that what you said the first time? Wretch is used. I have one comment here that says it's 25 times in Frankenstein. I suspect it's more than 25. And then you said 64 in all forms. People made him mean, right. Well, that was the same. Even the monster Boris Karloff version, he was simple and easily confused and scared of fire. And is that being scared of fire even a part of the original? It seems like it probably isn't, because he's really intelligent. So if you've never read it, it's a strange thing, because what you think of as Frankenstein is that flat-headed green, or maybe you think of Herman Munster, or you think of Boris Karloff, and you think of him as a monster, and that's not what it is in the book. It's like he built a man, but he made him out of spare parts, and he's not pretty, and he's a wretch, but he's super smart. 64, well, what are those others, like wretched, or like, what are some of the variations? Because I just remember the word wretch so much. Still only 14 dropped frames, 30% CPU usage, an hour 48. We should wrap it up, you guys. I mean, but I see that some of you are watching, and that is awesome. And you know what? I gotta tell you, so the whole idea of me building up my YouTube channel, I mean, obviously I just want to do it anyway, because it's so much fun when it's, the bigger it gets, the more fun it would be. We'll miss these. If it ever gets there, maybe we'll miss these times. My windows are rattling because of a helicopter. Or something. But, LOL, yes, on Science Comedian Facebook. I'm on Command Central. I've got you and Garth playing at the same time. Wretched, wretchedness. Yeah, every variation. So 64 times. And the book, it's like a 200-page book, right? 175, 200-page paperback. And so imagine 64 instances of wretched, wretchedness. That means it's coming at you every few pages. It just seemed like it's almost on every page. Maybe wretch is a place marker for coded messages, says Mike Strong, maybe. And Mary Shelley was like a kid. She wrote this book, like, it's hard to believe. What novel did you write when you were 17? And did it become known as perhaps the first true science fiction novel ever written? And did it become the classic that it is? It's right up there with the Bible. Frankenstein. It's a very similar story about the creation of man. Rising from the Dead. It's a very similar story. I get them confused. So I was going to tell you that the watched hours, I've actually made significant progress. Because a couple short videos that I recently edited and published have gotten 4,000 or 5,000 views or more. Like the one the other day about takeout and delivery, it's over 5,800, which, those are the numbers that I'm excited about right now. They're not millions, but it's enough to like really boost this watch time. So I'm having to get to 4,000 watched hours for the past year. And these past few weeks, the curve I have not flattened the curve. While we're trying to flatten that curve, I'm trying to sharpen this curve. I'm trying to steepen this curve. And it's been very successful because I was never putting out consistent content. So these live streams and these little videos that are getting some views are really helping. But we're at an hour 51. I mean, it's like almost as a matter of principle, we're at 152, that I should go another 8 minutes. But then we should wrap this up, right? And it's even early. It's only 10:48, 9:48, 8:48, 7:48. Where are my West Coast peeps? We got no one on the West Coast. Arizona is as far west as we go. No one over there on Facebook? Go for two. You got to get to 2. I know. It's like, it's almost embarrassing if I fall short. You know, back in 1999 and 2000, I mentioned I had this live streaming show. My friend Netreamer and Albert both were around in those days. I have some friends that I've known quite a while. So just realize that if you become friends with me, it may not be short term. Although some are. Usually the short-term ones are the romantic relationships. The friendships, we're in forever. The romantic ones, brief, and it'll end in tears. Hey, you know, nobody answered when I said name that tune. One of our submarines is missing. I never did get anyone, and no one told me what song that was. We should call it a party and hang till midnight. Midnight in what time zone? I thought that by starting a little early tonight, I could end a little early. I've been keeping crazy hours because I don't go to bed right after this. So I want to chill a little. And then I'm staying up late and sleeping late. But I really need to get up and do some video editing. I'm trying to I've been more productive than usual. The live streams, these are kind of easy. But I want to make them harder. I want to make them a little more work for myself. It's just that right now my days are dedicated to other stuff. But I would like to be preparing for this. And maybe here's the ideal. Pretty soon I think we should ramp up to, I'm using a different software package. When you make a comment, I can show some comments on the screen with this other software package. So like an individual comment, but that would also mean that I'd have to be sitting here at the computer, and I mean, I'm doing it anyway, but I mean, I'd have to actively be doing stuff. But I want to have some live interviews. So wouldn't this be great if at least part of this show is a live interview, and you can send in questions and comments and participate. The Rocky Mountains are here. That's right, Denise. So we got Colorado, and we've got 2 hours or bust. I'm here for it. It'll take you more than 8 minutes to wrap up. That's right. I couldn't wrap up now if I wanted to because we're 1:55. No, I could. All I have to do is hit this button and then hit the other button. Good night, everybody. No. But I wouldn't do that. There is part of me that's incapable of doing that, apparently. So Rocky Mountains, really, Brian? What did Darla? No West? Oh, that's right. You're already on the West Coast. I was thinking of the United States. But way over there in Canada, we do have at least one person representing the entire West Coast of North America. How soon they forget. I was stuck. I was thinking of the United States, the not-so-United States. I followed you around Europe. That's right. The Beatles. No, one of our submarines is not the Beatles, Denise. Masochist. Thomas Dolby. You goop. Darlene. Hey, Darlene. Thanks for tuning in. Darlene is also my mom's name, but she spelled it different. You've got 2 E's in a row. She put an N between the E's. Spaced them out. You're going to do my video splash pages with potatoes. Yeah, so Thomas Dolby of She Blinded Me with Science had some other really good songs, better than She Blinded Me with Science. I mean, that's the catchy song and everything, and the big MTV single, the video. But one of our submarines, and this song called Europa, and Hyperactive. You want to hear a fun song? Hyperactive by Thomas Dolby. Hyperactive and There's a song, I wrote lyrics to a friend of mine's music. I wrote a lot of songs with a friend, and I had a lyric that Thomas Dolby. It's something about saying good, I love you, good night, goodbye, something like that. Because I feel like it was like, oh, he wrote a song with that title already. I love you, goodbye, something like that. But Hyperactive is really good. Europa is really good. One of Our Submarines is a slow, atmospheric song. It's really good. And, here's someone I'd like to promote. Most people haven't heard of Joan Armatrading. A-R-M-A Trading. T-R-A-D-I-N-G. Joan Armatrading. She was critically acclaimed. I mean, I don't know if she was ever huge, and you might not know any songs of hers. And she still puts out music, but she was really, more popular she probably came around the end of the 60s or definitely early in the 70s. And in the 80s, I discovered her in the mid 80s, and I got a new album of hers called Secret Secrets. And then I got her greatest hits. And her greatest hits, it's called Track Record. Great. And there's a song called Drop the Pilot. And when you hear it, you might think it's a male singer. She has an amazingly versatile voice. So sometimes it's this husky voice. She's a black lesbian singer-songwriter. I was really frustrated whenever it was in the late 80s or the 90s when Tracy Chapman came out. It's like, I'm sure she's really good and everything, but she came out and made a huge success, huge smash. And at the same time, Joan Armatrading had a new album that was probably her 10th or 12th album, and it did nothing. And it's like, they were so similar. Their sound was similar, their look was similar. But Joan Armatrading, amazing songwriter. She's written a bunch of, I just think, the most beautiful, heartbreaking songs. One is called The Weakness in Me. Go listen to that and pull up the lyrics. The Weakness in Me is about being in a relationship and meeting someone else and being torn. This old love has me bound, but the new love cuts deep. And there's this part where she goes, if I choose now, I'll lose out. One of you has to fall. And I need you and you. And it's just the way it plays out. It's just beautiful. But that song, The Weakness in Me, is beautiful. So sometimes she has this deep, husky voice, but she can sing so high and delicate too. She has an amazing range. So there's a song called The Weakness in Me. There's another song called Love by You. It's just one of my favorite songs. Love by You by Joan Armatrading. She wrote it, music and lyrics. She sings it. But the guy playing piano is Joe Jackson. It's so good. I should just be playing songs like this. I guess we have this issue where it's like on my show 20 years ago, we played music because there was no one policing anything like that. But now if I played music I don't have the rights to, it's probably fine when it goes out live, but later it would probably they'd probably delete the entire audio track from the entire show. Yeah, Joe Jackson is really amazing. And you can tell it's him. He has such a distinctive sound that when you hear this and you know it's him, you'll go, oh, yeah, you can totally hear that is Joe Jackson. But she wrote it. It's her song, Love by You by Joan Armatrading. And The Weakness in Me, beautiful. And I think there's this one album called Walk Under Ladders. And Thomas Dolby plays the synthesizers on it. And there are synths. And it's Thomas Dolby. So this song, I'm lucky, I can walk under ladders. So the album is Walk Under Ladders, and it's I'm Lucky and Drop the Pilot, and it's Thomas Dolby on synthesizers on Joan Armatrading's song. So that's what I think every show, we should have a little music segment, we should have a science segment, we should have an interview, we should have me do a little rant or monologue about something, we should talk about books. So like every episode, maybe every episode doesn't have all of those, but like I think we should have a variety. And hey, how about we do, I would like you to interact with me. I have a participation idea. I have a new idea, and why don't we try it right now? I'm gonna first read the comments, and then I have a new concept, and I'm gonna ask you to comment. So please participate. Las Vegas. Mike, you're in Las Vegas? Interesting. How'd you end up there? Natalie's in Louisville, Kentucky. All right. And Denise, do not touch that button. Which is further west, Las Vegas or Los Angeles? Well, I'm trying to think of a funny way that, like, Las Vegas is really out there, but Los Angeles is further west. Unless you are in between, if you're somewhere in between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, then Las Vegas is further west. Deal with that, flat earthers. You got me? If you're in between Los Angeles and, I know you're smart, you got it the first time, but yeah, from here, it's first Las Vegas, then Los Angeles is further west. But if you were west of Las Vegas and east of Los Angeles, then actually you'd go west and you'd first hit Los Angeles, and then it would be, Las Vegas would be so much farther west of you. So much farther west of you. Denise, you know Joan Armatrading was awesome. She still is, but I mean, maybe, you know, I don't know her newer music. I followed some of her albums in the 80s. Really good stuff. Somebody wrote, I love Thomas Dolby. You didn't scroll up and see my splash page draft, did you? Here in this chat? I saw the other thing you showed me, but you don't mean up here. Okay, so which is further west, Reno or Los Angeles? It's got to be Los Angeles, but again, you know of her. Joan is really good. Great music and lyrics, and great singer. And you know what? One of the best concerts I ever saw. When I saw her, it was so I had recently discovered her. And I had this greatest hits. It's called Track Record. I highly recommend Joan Armatrading Track Record. It's really good. I Me Mine. Somebody quoted I Me Mine. There's also there's a song called I Love It When You Call Me Names. That's kind of a rocker. And, Willow is this beautiful little song. It's just so good. So I had her greatest hits, and then I had her newest album. So when I went and saw her in concert, I knew almost everything she played, and it was amazing. Her voice was amazing. It was the summer of 1985, and it will always be one of the best concerts I ever saw. And when she played Love by You, I think it was better than the studio version, and that doesn't happen very often, except that it wasn't Joe Jackson playing piano. Joe Jackson's great. Weakness in Me. I'm the Man. Is that a Joan Armatrading song? I like I'm Your Man by Leonard Cohen. Canadian. Joe Jackson is so intense. I Me Mine. Science Comedian Variety Show. That's right, Denise. Quizzes. This sounds like a cool show. Yeah. So I'll have segments. And you know what? I think it would be super cool if I played an interview clip or some recorded segment, and then when we come back from that, now I'm over here against the green screen. But I could shoot some segments so I can use the different, like I have this background, or I could have a green screen or something, but to actually set it, like right now, I have to change lighting, and I only have this one camera, so I would have to move the camera. So it's not very easy, but I could see ramping it up. We'll see how it goes. I have ultimate goals, but baby steps along the way. And the first thing I need to do is start using that other piece of software, because that integrates really well with Skype. I just don't know if my laptop can handle it. Can my laptop do all of this switching and a Skype call and record the file? Or I might have to come up with another system and offload some of the processing. But right now I'm doing all of this on a laptop, and it's not even a newer laptop. It's like a 20... It's a 2014. It's a mid-2014 MacBook Pro. So it's 6 years old. So it's doing an admirable job. 27 drop frames. But I should have things pop up, like funny things and sound effects, and we'll ramp up to all of that kind of stuff. So funny. So what was the funny story, Mike? LOL, which is further west? Did you ever start the piano? Christopher, how did you know that? Did I say that at some point? Christopher Hernandez, I implore you to come over to my YouTube channel and watch this same stream. And all this commenting is actually happening over there for the most part. And I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. But we made it to 2 hours and 7 minutes. That's right. We dropped some frames along the way. But would somebody pick them up? If you're behind me, would you pick up? I dropped some frames. Please pick them up. For every 5 frames you pick up, you can keep a couple. Hell, I won't even know. I love you, goodbye. That's it. I think I wrote a lyric with the same title, and then I saw that Thomas Dolby beat me to it. So Christopher Hernandez is a musician, and I started to learn. I got a keyboard and I started to practice, but the virus got in the way. Where everyone else has more time to do things like learn piano, I've started really working on video, and I haven't touched the keyboard in about 2 weeks. Maybe 3. I love you, goodbye, Thomas Dolby. I love this one so much. Yeah. Okay, so here's my question. Are some of you out there? Let me take a look. I have an idea for a segment, and I need your participation on it. So what if I had a segment, and like some of these things, here's my other thing is, I can do a long show like this with segments, and then each of those segments could be a standalone video on YouTube. So like if it's a book review, do it in the context of this live show, but then cut it out, polish it, and put it out as a single thing. So each of these different bits. So what about a sequence that's right for this moment in time? It's not even just the United States, the worldwide. Call it Silver Linings. And what I want to hear from you is, you know, I think most of us in the midst of this tragedy that is the virus and this pandemic, there have been some upsides. There have been some silver linings. So tell me a silver lining for you. So I can tell you a few right off the bat, but I should save them. But just for example, like this, I was building towards doing more video production, but I had started dragging my feet and I didn't do it as much as I should. I was experimenting a little bit, but when my gigs started canceling and all of this started happening, I ramped it up. It's like, I'm working harder than I was working. I have an exercise regime that I don't want to go into right now, but I do a lot of push-ups. And in fact, I have a goal for the year. And I've had a goal for the past few years, but I upped my goal. And it was going to be very challenging to meet my goal because when I travel, I don't have enough time to get them done because I don't spend much time when I'm on the road. Physical travel days get in the way, but even when I'm like, my days are crazy and I need time in the hotel room. And when I go to that Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting, I don't spend any time in my room. I wake up in the morning, I get the hell out of there, and I work all day, and when I come home, I crash. So all the traveling was going to make it difficult for me to meet the goal. But now I'm not traveling, so I'm home, and I'm maintaining a very high average, and we'll discuss that at another time because there's a whole story I want to tell you about it. So silver linings, tell me a silver lining, just one, because I'm going to ask you again. And we'll formalize this. And so, see, I should have a title. It's like Silver Linings. It should have a little theme song by Brian May. And you can watch this till super late without having to get up. That's a silver lining, and that's a silver lining for me. Who else has a silver lining? Susan and Albert. Darla, I got back into digital art thanks to a potato meme. There you go. Where did the potato meme come from? What's the basis of that? Let's have some generic peanuts while we think about it. Really, I'm serious. Did they hire someone to design this logo and packaging, because this is a level of graphic design that I could have pulled off, and I am not an artist. Oh my God, Darla, potato. I even made a Brian potato. Okay, some of you are out there. Tell me a silver lining. Come on, everybody. So for me, I was trying to eat too fast. You know what's weird? It looks like, I don't know if I can trust these numbers, but maybe no one is watching on Facebook right now. It's like a ghost town over there. But some of you are watching here. Oh, you have to share. Yeah, you know, I don't think you can post. I don't think you can. I was watching a live stream and the guy asked for something and I found that I couldn't send him a screenshot as a comment to a live stream. That was on Facebook though. Sophie would say, a little piece of peanut just flew out of my mouth. Florida doesn't put a lot of work into their logo. Oh, Food Lion. Food Lion in Florida, often confused for the same abbreviation, because they're more interested in making sure the product inside is good. It's kind of the HEB of North Carolina. Susan, wait a minute, I'm forgetting, you have a North Carolina connection? But that's very generous of you to claim that they're really working on the product inside. I could share images, but I won't. Sophie would say a silver lining is that she gets even more time to snuggle with you. Yeah, so I've heard that from some people, like a friend of mine. He's still working very long hours, but he's working at home and he sees his wife and daughters and he could even have lunch with them and then go back to his office, but he gets to see them and hang out with them a lot more. So I think a lot of people are finding that. I've come to realize during the time of the virus, Denise says, all the disappointments I've experienced with work, it is actually keeping me safe at home. I'm very grateful. Kimberly, I'm on his Facebook, posted on his page. Yeah, Darla, you don't even, I don't know if you use Facebook, but all my stuff is public. So probably she means the Brian Malow one. There's also science comedian Brian Malow. Don't post it there. I don't even know. Oh. But if you post it, you could post it in the comments to this post, maybe? I don't know. Or find Kimberly on Facebook. Bill says, I'm usually bad at being in contact with friends. I've talked to more friends in the past week than the last few months. Absolutely. I'm going to use up all my silver linings. I'm going to repeat some of these, but I'll make it into a segment. But yes, there are a couple old friends that I haven't spoken to. Bill, you and I had a conversation recently, didn't we? But there's a couple friends that I hadn't spoken to in close to a year. And we caught up with a nice long marathon phone call, but same for Kimberly. And Susan says, I'm homegrown Pittsboro, like North Carolina, Pitco County. My whole fam is back there. I was supposed to fly in tomorrow. What like family reunion or you're not a Facebooker? Well, my stuff is public, so you can even just go on the web to, I think it might be facebook.com/science comedian, not science comedian Brian Malow. I think that's my fan page, but facebook.com/science comedian is my personal page. And you might be able to post to the, or you might not be able to you might be able to post in the comments to this stream. Oh, no, you can't. I wonder if you can after it's not live. You might be able, because you can. Well, wait, you can post, but you can't post pictures. Okay, Pitt County. You can see how well I know North Carolina. Natalie says, I work for a travel agency. While people aren't traveling right now, people are still contacting us about future travel. Really? Like, how far out? It's so hard to know. So I posted something on Facebook today and maybe Instagram as a story where Justin Bieber canceled his tour, and I write, now shit is real. But Queen had to cancel a summer tour, and they're just moving it to 2021. And hopefully humans will gather in masses for concerts in 2021. Spencer says the downside is we're shifting to online teaching next week and I'll miss my students. However, the silver lining is that I won't have students gluing spicy chips to my lab table while I help other students with their insect collections. Hey, Spencer, just so you know, if you haven't seen this, I encourage people to join me. All this commenting, that the comments I'm reading, they're happening over on YouTube, and it would be a great favor to me because I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. I'm trying to build up the number of watched hours, and I'm just trying to build up my YouTube channel. So if you ever see me live on Facebook, I'd appreciate it if you flip over to youtube.com/science comedian. But if you're just on Facebook and that's where you want to be, I understand. But if it's no different to you, it's actually benefits me. So thank you. I also, Bill said I converted several of my books into Kindle. So Bill is a magician. Bill, why don't you pimp yourself out a little here, or I will. Is a magician in Chicago and a skeptic, and he does a lot of performing. In the old days, he at libraries and I mean at magic places and performances, but he also goes to libraries and presents these shows. Tell me what a couple of the topics are. I know that you do shows that are about Houdini, and I don't remember some of the other ones, but he's a history buff, especially the history of magic, and Houdini's an interesting character. And he also has a few self-published books, and he took this. One silver lining is he's converted them into Kindle form, and they're on Amazon. So why don't you tell people what they can look for, some titles, or is it William Pack? And how much are they, these books of yours? Do people even read books? Jeez. And I made that hand puppet video. That's right. That's a long time not seeing my daughter and parents, Susan. Yeah. You haven't been home in a year. Okay. Dang, William, way to make us feel like bums. Kimberly, 2021 and beyond, Natalie. Good job. Awesome. Post the link. Yeah. Oh, can you share a link? Yeah. It may not be an active link, but maybe they could copy and paste it if it isn't. But post a link to one of your books or your author page if such a thing exists. I'm giving you permission to. I'm asking you to. William Pack, Chicago-based magic man. You know, little known fact, that song that Hart wrote is about William. He's a magic man. He was about 12 years old when it came out, but he made quite an impression on the Wilson sisters. Did you know that, is it Anne and Nancy Wilson? And I think it's Nancy Wilson was married to Cameron Crowe, the director of Almost Famous, and, you know, what's that big one? You Had Me at Hello. I never saw that movie, and that's probably his most famous one. But I've been meaning to see, because I love all the other ones. Elizabethtown is a smaller picture of his that I really liked. And Vanilla Sky, did anyone see Vanilla Sky? And it's a remake of a Spanish film with Penelope Cruz, I think, is in it. And it's called It's called, I think it's called, the translation is Open Your Eyes. But it's a Spanish title, and I saw that one time. I'd like to see that. I like Vanilla Sky. But anyway, Cameron Crowe, Almost Famous, the songs that the band plays in Almost Famous, there's some original songs, and if you check the credits, Nancy Wilson and Cameron Crowe are writers or co-writers of those songs. It's kind of cool. What's in the cup? Every other night it's been water. This night it's a little bit of wine. But it was the very end of a bottle. It's not even enough to do anything. And when I'm drinking wine, I'm drinking it not for its taste, but for it to do something. I want it to do something, but I've known from the beginning that I've only been sipping it because there was never enough in here. If I had slammed it, maybe it would do a little something. But really, there isn't enough in here to do anything, and that's what I want wine to do. Because I don't like the taste of most alcohols. I'm no beer connoisseur. I'm no wine connoisseur. Wino. But occasionally, a mild buzz is kind of pleasant. But only a mild one. I'm not a big drinker. Yeah. A friend of mine just discovered that, she's not a big drinker either, I guess, and she picked up some beers. She actually asked me if I wanted some beer because she had it at the house because she bought it and she drank it and she felt like crap the next day. And then she remembered why she doesn't really like beer. So it was enough that it made her feel crappy the next day. And so she's like, ready to get rid of it. So yeah, Kimberly, neither, twins. Bill, where are you? Bill just dropped that on us and then left. I don't see a comment from him. Does anyone else? So it's, and also, you know what? It's white wine. And if anything, I prefer red, but this was some white wine. Some of it got drunk recently with neighbors back when we used to get together in person. And it was in the fridge. How long do you think an open bottle of white wine with a cork in it could sit in the fridge and still be okay? I mean, the thing is, for me, it was never that great to begin with, so to me it tastes just as good as it did that first night. And God knows when that was. Bill, still here. So tell them how to find it. Post a link to one of your books or something. You never know. Maybe one of your silver linings is you'll sell one ebook because I pimped you out. And then, of course, you know, after my cut, there's not going to be much left. Because that's how I treat my writers. That's how I treat my magicians. Do magicians technically have pimps? Technically. I'm a technical pimp for magicians. It's something I've trained for my whole life. Been learning the science, learning the tech, because I've just always wanted to be a technical pimp. But only for magicians. Not comedians, definitely not prostitutes. Well, let's not say definitely. But specifically, Susan, which Facebook is it again? Oh, facebook.com/science comedian. That's my personal page. And then I also have Science Comedian Brian Malow as my fan page. But go to my personal page. No, but we are whores. You don't have pimps, but you are whores. Susan says depends on the sweetness. Dublin sweet wines can last a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks. I don't remember the exact date. But it was the last time I had company, and it might be the last time that I have company. It was just my next door neighbors, and we'd already been pretty clean. And we weren't socially isolating to this degree, but it had started. It's so hard. Everything's a blur. Can you even believe? Hey, so really there was, am I mistaken? I wasn't on the internet that much today, but there was really no April Fool's Day today, right? Everyone is like, no, not under these circumstances. No April Fool's jokes. Like, weird reaction to the virus. Buy toilet paper and do not observe April Fool's Day. These are the key things to celebrating and observing the virus. Hey, how many dropped frames were we at? 14? We are now at 27. Are we still in sync? Are we still in sync? Are we in sync? We in sync? Are we in sync? 27 drop frames and 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 27 seconds when I started that timestamp. That's it. Okay, I'll tell you what. If we go 6 more minutes, it'll be my longest stream so far. Monday was my longest stream so far. I don't know if I can do it though. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Unless, a word from our sponsor, String Cheese. When you want cheese, but you also love strings, you can't eat a whole block of cheese. Break it off into strings. The way adults don't eat cheese. Duplin County, North Carolina? Duplin, long U, okay. Bill, how come, if you're a whore, how come you're not posting your link that I'm begging you? Do you not want? I can't do it. I can't. We need to get 5 more minutes to 2:33. And then what? Am I going to just exceed it by seconds or a minute? I don't know. I don't know how many seconds it was after the 33, so we have to go to at least 2:34. I don't think I can do it. Go on without me. Go on without me. I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe if I had a break, a little cheese snack. Do you remember the other night, a friend of mine, Sarah, was watching, and she said she peeled it off. What's that? I'm sure there's a theory about that cheese. You're Spencer from Facebook. You made the leap over to Spencer. If you came over to YouTube, then I can only, like, how wrong would it be? There's something I'm trying to say and I can't think of what it is. It's like about how wrong it would be of me to stop now when you did that for me. I just hopped on, so I'm good for 2 more hours. Scroll up in the comments. Bill, did you post a link? What do you mean? I don't see it. Denise, strike 1. 2 more strikes and you're out. No, I won't cut the cheese. I'll eat it like an adult. But don't pick at it with your dirty fingernails. No, it's going in your mouth. You use your mouth. Nature's can opener. What do you think buck teeth are for? They're for eating string cheese. Bill, do you just want me to scroll up in the comments, or are you saying you posted a link? Because I don't see it anywhere. Does anyone else see it? And Bill, but why don't you just give me some verbiage? What should people look for? Which book do you think people should read of yours? How many do you have? You're a magician and an author, and you're a skeptic? I'm skeptical. I've got it right now. I don't know what you're talking about. No, you've got it right now. You must comment in complete sentences. Hey, Spencer. I'm sorry, but do I know you? Spencer. I would think I would remember a Spencer. How do you come to... I know how you come to be on YouTube, but how do we know each other on Facebook? how you are. Oh, okay. So this is the right way to do it. She was saying pick at it with her fingers, and I'm like, no, you pick at it with your teeth. Now, Bill says, I posted my website twice. Search my name on Amazon. Houdini is my favorite. Does anyone else see the link that he posted? Sorry. I got cheese down the wrong hole. Does anyone else see? Bill, do you see the links that you posted? I don't see them there. No, I don't see them anywhere. I wonder if it doesn't allow that. It probably doesn't allow it because it can be very spammy. But what about when you want the link? What about when you're requesting a link? So it's William Pack. I had to belch in the middle name Belch. Very hard to spell. Oh, your website? Well, you see them. I don't think anyone else. I don't see them. Does anyone else see them? Bill, what's your website? Without making it a link, can you describe the URL like Science Comedian and then the .com? At 1021? 1021? You mean 1221? No, 1121. 2321. Let's see. No, what comments are you next to? Nope. I see mic drop, which I didn't even see that one before. 2321. Still here. You wrote still here, and Mark Kaplan wrote as long as it takes. Mark Kaplan, you didn't tell me a silver lining. Yeah, maybe you just see him, and we don't see him. Spencer doesn't see him. I don't see him. So that's really, that's kind of interesting. It lets you believe that you posted it. You spammer, you. But is it WilliamPack.com or William Pack Magician, WilliamPackMagicalHorror.com? What is it? Just without making it a link, why don't you just tell us what it is anyway? But William Pack, and he has a book about Houdini. But come on, Houdini, that's tough. What's the title of your Houdini book? We don't see any links. We're just kicking back, talking to family more. Okay, Mark, silver lining. Talking to family more, especially kids. Your kids? Hey, Mark, how many kids do you have, and how old are they? Maybe you don't want to tell everyone, but I'm curious. So, I'm running out of new topics. What else happened today? Oh, I do have something. I have a coronavirus update for you. But what's more important? Right by this. Okay, the book is William Pack, The Essential Houdini. Oh, pretty ballsy of you. This is The Essential Houdini. All that other was bullshit. You have two. They're 26 and that's insane. You have a 26-year-old and a 22-year-old? Wow. I got nothing. Maybe his link is veryfunnymagic.net. The Essential P.T. Barnum. Oh, I see. So it's a whole series. So how much more do I have to do before you whittle it down to the Essential Brian Malow? What do I have to do? I probably have to kill someone in a really notorious way. That's the quickest, easiest way, right? Think of some really notorious crime. Uh-oh. Oh, this is officially the longest stream. However, I started it with I didn't come on screen for a good 5 minutes. So, just to be sure, we should let it go a little longer. We're at 27. Is that how many drop frames I said a little bit ago? 27? Sync test. Denise, that's my magic page. The Essential oh wow, The Essential P.T. Barnum, The Essential Houdini, The Essential Great Chicago Fire, The Essential Edgar Allan Poe. Fascinating. That's great. The Great Chicago Fire. Was it really started? Was it Mrs. O'Malley's cow kicked over something? Kicked over a bucket of milk and it started a fire? What did a cow, there's something about a cow. Why was there a candle anyway? Were they milking the cow at night? Then it's really not the cow's fault. It's Mrs. O'Malley, right? Is that even the right name? Is that, for some reason, that's in my head? I was born in Chicago, but I was 5 when we moved to Texas. And not my decision. I was 5. I had very little to do. Mrs. O'Leary, and no, it wasn't to do with the cow. It was her herself. She was a bit of an arsonist. She was a pyromaniac and scared of the dark. Lit up a fire. Has anyone read the classic Isaac Asimov story, Nightfall? N-I-G-H-E, like night, falling, nightfall. Classic science fiction story by Isaac Asimov. No spoilers, so I'm just not going to say anything about the story, but just curious if you're sci-fi geeks. So yeah, so there we are, 2:38. We could go just a little longer, but you know, I understand that sometimes you probably just want to sit out there. If you're watching on Facebook or Periscope, anytime you see these live streams, I'd invite you to switch over to my YouTube channel and watch it on YouTube. It's right there. Science Comedian is my channel on YouTube, and most of the commenting is going on there, and it helps me if you watch there. So join us over there. Denise says, looks like Williams' books might be on libraryprogramming.com. Wait a minute. Bill, isn't that your website? Is libraryprogramming.com your website? The cow was the original fake news? Really? So do you explain that? Do you bust the myth? And then, so it wasn't a cow, it was actually a bat, right? Susan has a 27-year-old daughter. That's insane. You're not even old enough to have a 27-year-old daughter. That is crazy. Bill, so Denise, what you found was Williams. So Denise was able to post your website on the first try. Hey, Bill. It's a good thing you got Denise working for you. Libraryprogramming.com, and I'm sure you can find out about Bill's current performing schedule. All his personal appearances, they're all taking place at his own home for the foreseeable future. You got to do some virtual stuff, Bill. You're going to have to. You got to either make some videos or do some live streams. Darla says, I think Potato Mallow is on Facebook now. Oh, really? Pamela Halpern is watching. Pamela, are you really out there? If you are, hi, cuz. Then we have a Californian watching. Are you really out there, Pamela? Hey, I invite you to join me over at youtube.com/science community. This same stream. If you ever see me streaming here, I'd rather you watch on YouTube. I can explain later, but I'm trying to build up my watched time on YouTube. So, and all this, I'm talking to a bunch of people in the comments, and it's all happening over there. So, thanks for tuning in, though. Maybe you're just browsing Facebook and you didn't want to stick around, but thank you. I saw your little light go up. So if I close this, so you're saying you think, where is it? Thanks for saying that. Spencer. Where did you post it? Did you post it to this stream or? It's really funny. I shared an Instagram post by Brian May because he does a cover. Brian May of Queen has been doing these great little, he's very personal on Instagram and now more than ever. And he's been talking very heartfelt stuff about the virus and about isolation. and he's been playing songs, and he's been showing you the chords to songs and his own, and he did a couple covers. So yesterday he did this great, and he sang it too. It's You're So Square, Baby I Don't Care. The Elvis song. The Elvis isn't the original version of it, but he sang it a little like Elvis. It was very good. And then he talked and he explained a lot about how he plays it and different ways to play it. But the day before, he did a cover of a John Lennon Beatles song, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. But for some weird reason, the video that he posted is fine, but the thumbnail that shows up is upside down. And that's funny, 'cause something like that happened with me there too, and but I corrected it. But it's just kind of funny because there's an upside down Brian May, but the video is not upside down. Only that thumbnail is. I don't know. Where did you put it, Darla? I don't see it. But anyway, oh, I see. We got a bunch of comments. I think Potato Mallow is on Facebook. Bill says I explained a couple good ideas on what really started the fire. Oh, so it's not 100% known. That's cool, Bill. Says Denise. I'm recording my Edgar Allan Poe program for a library. Oh, for the next couple days. So you're doing some virtual for a library, and then are they just going to have it online? Because no one's really going to the library, huh? How does a library stay in business when they're not giving out books for free every day? How are they going to support themselves? Poe, perk. I'm interested too, Darla. See, look at this. Here's a little silver lining for you. I got you a couple new fans. Have we discussed the telltale heart? Miller being a woman yet? I think you mentioned that to me, but I would actually have to... Oh, right. You said it's like a spurned lover, but I don't remember the story well enough to think about that. I can't even think about it. Stop. Don't even make me think about it. Oh, the Telltale Heart killer. The narrator of the Telltale Heart, the killer, is a woman. Darla, what do you mean the wrong page? How wrong? How could it be wrong? I told you, Facebook.com. I'm enunciating like the president. / science comedian. It's not complicated. If you put it on the other page, that's my very serious science comedian Brian Malow fan page. Maybe it's over there. And Leah over on Facebook says she doesn't know. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But you managed to post it. But Facebook.com/ science comedian. According to the U.S. Post Office, my credit card is about to expire. That's a weird combination of things. Why is the post office? Oh, I have a post office box. Maybe that's why. But there's no way it should be up yet. And maybe it has an old, yeah. No pimp love for potatoes. You might have it on the wrong page. I put it on the train pick one. Train pick? What train pick? Train pick. I don't know what you're talking about. Do I know what you're talking about? What train pick? I see Brian May and me. I don't see a train. Are you on Facebook? Are you on my Facebook? Is it on a train pick? Not sure what that means. But this is definitely officially the longest stream I've done. I think I almost said this but didn't. When I was streaming 20 years ago, I had this show that I did for a year and a half, 5 times a week. But Seriously with Brian Malow. And that's what we're going to call this too. But Seriously with Brian Malow. I'm your host, Brian Malow. And oh. But 20 years ago when I did that show, that was a 2-hour show. But I always had guests. It wasn't just me talking for 2 hours, 2.5. It was a 2-hour show. And I took music breaks, and I always had at least one long interview, sometimes two, to fill it, because I couldn't have done it by myself. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is me. If it just says, here's the thing. It either says Brian Malow or it says science comedian Brian Malow. If it says Brian Malow, I think it's on an airplane, not a train. That's what threw me. I think that photo is on an airplane. And yeah, Albert, we're just getting started. Albert, I asked people, here's my new idea for a segment called Silver Linings. And in all this darkness, what's been a silver lining for you, Albert? We heard from Susan and we heard from a bunch of other people. And one of mine is, look, I'm actually working harder than ever and I'm doing all this video stuff and connecting with you. And I've had the same thing that some other people mentioned, that I've connected with some old friends. I've had some phone conversations with old friends. So Albert, what is a silver lining for you amidst all this dark clouds? Or something even more grammatically correct. So you put it on the train pick one. So that, I think you were on the right pick. Trains are cool. Natalie. So Natalie, what is it that you do exactly? Something to do with travel? Like, are you a travel agent? But you have some special connection to traveling by train, don't you? According to your social media profiles. Denise is looking at the fan page. The community don't see what Darla's talking about. Yeah, I don't know where the potato picture is. And I'd say that you can grab the link to it, but you can't post it here because we already discovered that with Bill. Albert says, being able to see my old friend Brian in my living room almost every night and without a risk of infection. Very low risk. So far, according to epidemiologists, there's very little chance of you catching the virus, the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus, the current one that causes COVID-19, just by watching me, even if you watch me for 2 hours and 49 minutes. So the great thing about this is that some of you madmen and mad women, some of you maniacs, have been watching so long that this is going to be really good for my watched hours. My watched hours are climbing. When I started a couple weeks ago, the thing that YouTube requires before you can even apply for monetization, and I'm sorry, I know some of you have heard this, is that you need a certain minimum number of subscribers, and I have that. But they want you to have, in the past 365 days, you have to have 4,000 watched hours. And I had like 800. But we've probably, by the time this is all over, that's hundreds. We're very close to doubling that. So that was like 800 watched hours for the past year. But in these couple weeks, I don't know how long it's been exactly, we've gotten it up to, when I checked earlier today, it was like 1.4 thousand. But I need 4,000, but I'm on track to get there. If just a couple of these videos could go viral, or if we just do this is one way to do it. Albert says he has a firewall, so you're probably safe. A firewall is like the condom of computer viruses. Natalie, yes, I work for a family-owned travel agency that specializes in luxury trains. Very nice. Family-owned. And where did you say you're based in, you said it earlier. It wasn't Idaho where the potatoes come from. It's in the United States. It's not in Colorado. What was it? You probably know. But really, we don't want this to go 3 hours. And oh, you know what? There is a limit on some of these platforms. I think there's a limit to how long you can go. Louisville, Kentucky. That's right. Okay, that's right. Louisville. Are you from there or are you just there? But what? We watched little Steve Vai talking about the being out of sync. We watched my new video about cooking and freezing. Oh, that reminds. Okay, I do have one virus update for you. Scratch everything else, because I made a video that said, "Can dogs carry the coronavirus?" I spoke to a virologist from NC State. Her name's Dr. Barbara Sherry, and what she said is that as far as now, it's always scientists are careful to say, they'll never say that it's impossible, or they might say it about some things, but largely it's like, well, this is what we've seen, and this is what seems more likely and higher risk, and we hadn't seen any animals, dogs or cats, actually being infected, but of course they can carry the virus like a surface, just like we can. But separate from her, something I learned about surfaces. Here's something interesting. You've heard that on different kinds of surfaces, the virus lasts different amount of times? I don't know the reason about that exactly, but I do know this. This is very interesting about surfaces. That some surfaces that are porous, like cardboard or paper or fabric, the virus gets stuck in them a little, and same with animal hair. And when you touch it, you probably pick up less virus particles than some other surfaces, like a handrail. So some plastic and metal surfaces, when you touch them, maybe you can pick up a greater percentage of what's there. But dogs and fabrics and cardboard and paper, you don't tend to pick up as much from it, is what I read. That was on NPR, an article where they had an expert speaking to it. So it wasn't a writer, it was a scientist saying that. So that sounds interesting. And so that you're less likely to pick it up from the dog hair, because some of it is stuck in there. They also mentioned that if you feel like your shirt or fabric was exposed, one thing you don't want to do, don't shake out fabric. Don't shake your shirt, because if there is some in there, you've just made it just go into the air, and it could hang in the air for a while. So if you think that you've been out and you might have been exposed and you've wiped your hands on it and stuff, don't shake it off when you take it off. Just put it right into the washing machine, and the soap will probably destroy the virus. Okay, so the basic idea though was dogs could carry it as a surface, but as far as we know, they can't be infected with it and get sick from it. But if you're sick, like you're saying, for the most part, this is a low risk thing you don't have to think about. But if you're sick, maybe stay away from your pets a little, and if your friend's sick, and stay away from their pets. But that was on March 20th or 21st. Well, on March 31st, yesterday, there's an article you may have heard. In Belgium and in another country, there have been individual cases where a cat is apparently infected. But again, you have to be very careful with this, because these are single instances, like a total of 2 or 3. It's a real maybe right now. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control in the United States, is aware of this. They haven't changed their policy on this. They're still saying it's a low risk. And there's no evidence of anyone. The pets were probably infected by their owners. They may have developed some symptoms, but again, it's like I don't think it's been any dogs. It's been a couple cats. Maybe, so they're looking into this and they're exploring it, and maybe a cat can carry it, but it's a real maybe, and it's still the number of cases like that compared to the cat. I saw a figure for cases worldwide being something like 800,000. Does that sound right? And the instance, so by far the big risk is being around other humans that could be contagious. And getting food delivered or getting food from the grocery store. You should still take the precaution of washing your hands maybe after handling the packaging, but very low risk of getting it from the food or the food packaging. But this one pet thing, it's a very weird thing. Hey, Hugo Barada, this is crowded. If you're on Facebook, there's maybe no one over there, because I've been encouraging everyone to come watch me instead on YouTube. This same stream is on YouTube, and it helps me. I'm trying to build up my watch time on YouTube. So, Hugo Barada, I invite you to come over. There's more people watching over on YouTube, and there's a live chat there with a bunch of people. But if there's no one on Facebook, it might be because throughout the stream, I've asked people to come over there. So we're all chatting over there. There's really nothing going on in the comments there. See, there's one thing. I just got some bad PR because somebody showed up to Facebook and it's like, who's this guy even talking to? And I think, so that was sarcastic. This is crowded. And I'm not saying we have a big crowd over on YouTube, but that's where all the action is. When did you say that? 23:51. You probably bailed already, and I don't blame you. But we're having a good time over on YouTube. Denise, Brian, you might have a privacy setting on your personal Facebook page where you'd have to approve someone else's post to come through to be seen by everyone. No, not if it's just, my stuff is all public, and most stuff, it really depends. If you just make a post and tag me, it doesn't show up in my timeline. But if you come to my page and post something, I think it shows. But you know what? You're right. Let me check something. That might be the solution, Darla. Although no, I don't have very many. I don't have much action there. Accepted your invites, like. Nope, I don't think that's it. Good thought, but I don't think that was it in this case. Now, science comedian Brian Malow has some posts. Is there any chance you did it over there? I think that is where you did it. You did it on the wrong page. That's why. And maybe oh, you posted it like 4 times, but you went to science comedian Brian Malow. You didn't just go to science comedian. It's like facebook.com/science comedian. And do I have to approve these? This is very confusing. They're listed here. Denise, you didn't see them? Because maybe I have to approve them. You know, Facebook really sucks in a lot of ways. And I've had this problem before on the fan page that, oh, Hugo, oh, you're on this page. Oh, okay. Empty because of the virus, you know. No, let me write to this guy. Hold on a sec. Oh, I don't even know if I can. Can I write to him? Hold on. But I've had this problem where it sent me in a loop. Like it said, you have to go over here and approve it. Why do I have to go to somewhere else and approve? And then I went there and there was nothing there to approve. It's like, why isn't it just like on the normal profile pages, you see something and you have to approve it. But on the fan page, it's really strange and confusing. And if I have to approve these, oh, there it is. Mark as done. Well, I marked one of those as done, but I don't know if that means it shows up. But you have like 3. I can, here we go. I can share it to, here we go. Okay. Share. Oh. I can't share it to my personal page. I can share it to a group or an event or a page I manage. That is so bizarre. Facebook is so weird. Like, it frustrates me when things that should be really easy and intuitive end up not really being that way. Oh, Hugo Barada says his Portuguese sucks. All right. So that is kind of funny. So the risk there was somebody came to the Facebook page. In this case, it was the science comedian Brian Malow fan page. And they were like, it was just all quiet, like he was the only one there. Because we're all over here. We abandoned, what's that classic? What's the town that disappeared? The very mysterious American colony that everyone disappeared. Do you know what I'm talking about? Bill, it sounds like your essential next book or your next essential book. All right, back to your comments. That's where the interesting stuff here. Because of the virus, it came from a bat. Well, that's what they want to sell us. Oh, are you a paranoid conspiracy theorist over there in Portugal? It did come from a bat, and scientists have they've looked at the genome. They've sequenced the genome of the virus, and they know that it came from a bat because they can compare it to the genome of the bat, and that's not the government telling you that. That's scientists. Which, don't trust the government. That's fine, but trust the scientists. Most of them. Denise, yeah, you didn't see him. Yeah, Facebook sucks for this, and I couldn't, I'll post it in the comments to this video. I think I can. Maybe you can. Hugo, yeah, do you have your English sucks, so you'll try your best to do what? Has there been any upside? I asked if anyone had a silver lining. Under the dark cloud of the virus, has there been anything positive come of this for you? I thought I posted on both. Yeah, you're using the app. Just chalk it down to Facebook sucks. And I got these notifications that you did it like 4 times on Science Comedian Brian Malow. And I don't even know how to just approve it so that it appears. I think perhaps I have to, but I look at it and it's like there's not a simple thing that says approve and that it does. There was one that says that you're done, and I click that, and that one disappeared because I was done, so it disappeared. But I didn't know how to make them appear. So between the two of us, we couldn't figure it out. I think that's a user interface fail. Not a user fail. You're a user, Darla, and I'm a user. Facebook is its own thing, Albert. But don't do it to that fan page because the functionality of it is so weird. You know, hey Albert, do you have a, like, I guess I don't know what they call them anymore, a page as opposed to a profile? Here's another really weird thing. There's something that says they judge how often you respond to inquiries. And it'll say he responds 78% of the time to inquiries. But you know what? You know what? If you're having a conversation and they have the last word, you didn't respond to a message. And if it's spam and you don't respond, you didn't respond to a message. That's terrible. But I mean, what if you're having a conversation and then the last one, if you don't get the last word, then you have a message that you didn't respond to. It's not good usability. And also, if you use the self-facing camera and you do any live streaming or shoot video like on Facebook, it remains backwards and all the text is backwards. And when the day that this happened, which although it says it was October 23rd, 2018, it was actually October 24th, I think. He was off by one day. But the day we did that, Neil held this live interview hall pass up to the screen, and everyone that saw it backwards. But some people did screen caps, and then they flipped it and they sent it back to us. And also the other thing Neil did, and I don't think it's there, he said that he could write his name backwards, like mirrored, and he did, but I don't think that's the backwards one. No, that's reasonable, but I don't know if I have that. But that's kind of funny. Him doing a mirror image version. So he'd write it backwards, hold it up, and it would be right. 3 hours and 6 minutes, still only 27 drop frames. Can I get a little "We Will Rock You"? Are we still in sync? Are we in sync? Are we in sync? Does it still look like it's in sync live? Susan has a personal Facebook profile. Then I have my, is it Seat Spud Love or Sweet Spud Love? Are you just making that up? 3 hours. Woo! On that note, I'm off to bed. Good night, Natalie in Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks and good night. Thank you. We made it to midnight. Oh, Jesus, we did. In this time zone, Kimberly, it's not midnight where you are. It's only like 11 where you are, right? Nighters, Natalie. Yep, several for client businesses. Very frustrating. And Darlene says an early and very bizarre account of a vanishing town is that of the mysterious Urkhammer in the state of Iowa. Ooh, I don't know that one. I'm talking about, is it in the United States? A colony that everyone disappeared and it's always been very mysterious. Maybe it's not in the U.S. Sync. Is that a yes? Seems good. Yes in sync. FYI, you can stream for 4 hours on Facebook. Are you sure? I thought I just heard something, but I don't want to. Do I have to? You must stream for 4 hours on Facebook. Okay, but Roanoke, right? Is that it? Isn't there some mystery about Roanoke? Well, wait, Roanoke still exists, but was there a colony that disappeared? And it's the lost colony of Roanoke. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you. Roanoke. Yeah, you all knew. I knew that you knew. I have outsourced much of my brain, and you're like external hard drives. That's how I think of you. Each of you is an external hard drive on which I have saved some very important information. You know, here's an old joke of mine. Let me see if I can remember it. I'm not going to be able to remember it very well, but it was about like when you see two people that are like partners in a relationship and one goes, "Where do I know that guy from?" It's like they're storing some of their memories in their partner's brain. It's like they're accessing another database. Where do I know that guy from? Let me check the hard drive. Honey, where do I know that guy at Albert from? Oh. And then I said, I made a music reference. Don't I know you from the cinematographer's party? Name that music reference. Darlene, you're just fast on Google. You didn't really know. What did you look up? You didn't have Roanoke? Just some lost village or something? A village lost and found? A little reference for you Brian May fanatics. And where did our Portuguese friend Hugo go? Hugo, did you ever come on over? Did you ever come on over to the dark side? You can't post to my other page? I made a post earlier tonight that just says, "Who's game for a live stream tonight?" Can't you make a comment? You can make a comment to that because it's open to the public. Anyone can. Denise, Lost Colony, Early English Settlement. Okay, name that music reference. English Settlement. Early English settlement on Roanoke Island, now North Carolina, that mysteriously disappeared between the time of its founding, 1587, and the return of the expedition's leader, 1590. So in that 3-year period, it disappeared. Very mysterious. Typed in village where everyone vanished. But, you know, it probably has a very mundane explanation. They're probably like, "Hey, the water is shit here. Why don't we go to that town?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's all go." And there was one guy that stayed, but then he drank the water and he died. But the whole town disappeared. Very mysterious. No, they just moved 2 towns over. Everything's fine. Nothing happened. There's no Bermuda Triangle. It's a parallelogram. Get it right, people. It's the Bermuda It's the Bermuda. I think we've gone too long. But we've gone over 3. Why don't we call that good enough? Like, right? We've gone 3 hours and 11 minutes, coming up on 12. 3, 2, 1. 3 hours and 12 minutes. 27 dropped frames, 1 banana eaten, including the end of the banana's anus, the bananas. All credit goes to Laurie Kilmartin, comedian and writer. Can we just... How many of you even use Twitter? I've said it so many times, so let's see. Oh, I remember, it's Any Laurie. Is that what it is? It's Any Laurie. I think that's what her handle is. Yeah, it's Any Laurie 16. Okay. And anyway, she's very funny, and I think she has she's got 66.8 thousand. She's got over 66,000 followers on Twitter. That's very respectable. You'll see every time for the past few years, whenever Trump has done something really messed up, she would post a post like, President Hillary Clinton spent 12 hours on the golf course, blah, blah, blah. So like whatever it is, but she'll just put Hillary Clinton did this. Just like, I don't know how she started or when, but like the point I take from it is like, can you believe if you read that, like those same Republicans, if they read that about her, they would be raging about it. But let's see if I see an example. Here's one. President Hillary Clinton's company, the Clinton Organization, just signed a $45,000 contract with the Secret Service, tasked to protect Mrs. Clinton. The $45,000 goes to renting golf carts at her Virginia club so agents can guard Mrs. Clinton as she plays. So you see what I mean? She just takes these instances and flips Trump for Clinton. And she does it all the time. That was just 2 hours ago. Didn't take me long to find one. You may have seen that we might be, the CDC might be changing their opinion about wearing masks. And it's a very touchy subject, because if they want us to all wear masks, we have a problem with healthcare workers having a severe shortage of masks. And then if they're recommending that we have masks. But I don't think the final word is out on that. They're thinking about it. Susan says blue-eyed Native Americans were discovered later. Yeah, well, there's a long history with us mixing it up with, if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. And that's how come we have Neanderthal genes in our genetic code right now. Because if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. Even if she's a Neanderthal, love the one you're with. Even if she's not your species, love the one you're with. Right? Okay, so English Settlement is the name of an album by XTC, but the album I love by XTC is Skylarking. Oh my God, we'll talk about it some other time. And then what's the other reference I said? Wasn't there one just before that I said, doesn't anyone know what I'm referencing? You guys. It's a pretty cool mystery. Thanks so much for the Fireside chat. I need my beauty sleep now. Good night. Is that Spencer, KS Holmes? Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Good luck with your students. And enjoy that silver lining. It's a pretty cool mystery. Yeah, I don't remember the details of it. Banantastic. Denise says this was the best video streaming yet, and the lighting was great. Good. I do think that we could make it a little darker and atmosphere. Let me show you something. In the very low-tech way. Look at this. Now this guy, they're called live streaming pros, and they kind of teach people how to. So look how atmospheric that is, and kind of dark. Like he's doing a lot with light. Unfortunately, if I come closer, it's going to be blurry because I have it on manual focus. But can you see? He has a lot of interesting lighting effects going on in the background. He's got like Christmas lights or colored lights, and he's got lights. And it's rather dark and atmospheric. And this is very bright, especially for midnight. Don't you think for midnight we should be a little moodier because it's midnight at the Oasis? And the Oasis could be a music reference, or is it an Austin, Texas reference? You decide. People are probably hoarding them with toilet paper, hoarding. I lost the thread there, Susan. Oh, come on, we got time. I know, because I started so early. Do you see, Darlene, do you see a lot of people wearing masks? I don't see many people wearing them in Jaiz. You're in Jaiz? I'm almost surprised. Well, for one thing, no, but I haven't really been out in public very much. Oh, a UPS or mail carrier today was wearing a mask. My neighbors, we've all been everyone around here has been practicing social distancing so much that the masks haven't been, but I don't know if they go shopping or something if they're wearing masks. But I don't have a mask, not even a Halloween mask. Do I have any masks? I don't know. No mask, not many mask wearers in Denver. Kimberly says, oh yeah, that's cool. He's got colored lights on him. He can make it moody with gels. Well, I tried that. Some of these lights came with gels, and really just throwing a gel on that light, it just didn't do it. I tried that at first back here, and it didn't do it that well. But the light that I got, although it's not very big, it's tunable. I can make it like blue and green and yellowish. But this seemed like one of the darkest. And like I said, if it wasn't being, let's try something real quick. Hang on a sec. The other night I turned some lights off. Let's not turn the lights off, but what if we dim them a little? Dim it, turn it down a little, and I'll dim this one a little. Let's just see if it goes a little atmospheric. Oh, this one already is low. Is that even very different? It's not. The one thing I see automatically is that it looks like the backlight all of a sudden stands out more. Does that seem a little too dark? Some of the lights I can tune the warmth of, some of them I can't. Oh my God, he died? A friend of mine just said that another friend of mine, Mark, just told me that this guy, so you said Fountains of Wayne, Adam Schlesinger died, great songwriter. How old was he? So my friend of mine just said, and it was sort of a silver lining thing, he said that because he heard this guy in Fountains of Wayne had the virus, that he started listening, so it was like his entree into discovering the band a little bit. And I said, I still don't know their music. And Mark says he died. How old was he? What, did he have underlying health conditions already? He couldn't have been. Now my face is too dark. Okay, I'll crank it up a little. Mark, give me some details on that. Why did he die? That's not what we want to hear. We don't want to hear that young rock stars are dying from the virus. That is absolutely not what we want to hear. That is not what we want to hear. Is this about where it was? I don't know what they were set at exactly, but a little better. But what he does, he didn't have colored light on him. What he has is a lot going on in the background, and he talks about, he likes it to be dark, and he just doesn't put much light on him. And then a lot of different colors in the back. Let's see. Yeah, because like he's lit and white balanced kind of normally, but there's a lot of color stuff going on in the background. Oh, so yeah, Fountains of Wayne. That's okay. That's really. So the weird thing is, right now we're in the stage where, oh my God, Tom Hanks has the virus. Oh my God, the singer from Fountains of Wayne just died. But unfortunately, I think that we're going to be hearing a lot more of this. Like, it's just this. It's hard to wrap your mind around that not knowing. I told you early on that to me this is like on a completely different time scale, like an earthquake. If you've ever experienced an earthquake, when it starts, you immediately start to wonder, how long is it going to go? Is it about to end, or is it the start of something really big? And that was the same with this. It's like, we don't have any idea how long or how bad it's going to go or how bad it's going to be. And that's nerve-wracking. Was that the same UPS or maker that coughed on the way up to your house the other day? Actually, no. I think this one was a UPS delivery, and that was my U.S. Postal Service. So yeah, sad news, Mark Kaplan. Kimberly in Michigan, everyone's wearing a mask here, even to walk their dogs. Aren't you in kind of a smallish town too? Are you in a small community? Yeah, you can tune the warmth of the light. Yeah, Denise. So some lights you can, some you can't. And I bought some that I can tune, and I bought some that I knew I didn't need to tune them because I wanted them at this sunlight temperature. Lights that you're going to use in a variety of situations, you would love to have that feature. But I knew that for some of these, they're just going to be like lighting the green screen. I never need to be able to tune them, so I didn't have to buy tunable ones. And then some of them are. And then some of them that aren't have gels, but just throwing this little gel in front of it wasn't very effective. I thought I could make the color back there warm that way, but I haven't found it yet. But I think I told you that one of the problems is these bright white lights, they're not just spots on me. They're washing that out. That could be a much nicer red color. His advantage is I think he's farther away from his background, and his background is lit, and he has like a more focused light on him. My lights there are washing this out. So he was 52. That's too young. Was he unhealthy? Was he a heavy smoker? Did he have some underlying health condition? It doesn't say if he has any compromising conditions. Darlene says Joe Diffie. I'm afraid I don't know who that is. Darlene died from the virus too. He was 61. Met him a few times in Nashville. Very sad. Complications of coronavirus. John Prine. But I heard John Prine was dying, but was it the virus or not? Do you know that? John Prine has the virus. So Darla, you posted that. Sorry, John Prine, yeah. In the burbs, Kimberly's outside of Detroit. It's not huge, populated enough to have 6-lane roads, LOL. John Prine is not dead. Okay, Mark says. But, oh my God. Yeah. And I've seen on Twitter some people post, people they knew or related to. But unfortunately, I think we have to open our minds to the idea that this is going to happen, that we're going to know some people, because they're projecting pretty big numbers now. But there's a lot of confusion about it. You got to remember something about all these projections. They really hinge on our behavior. If we did an amazing job at social distancing and quarantining, that could have a huge effect on the number of deaths. And if we don't, that could have a huge effect the other direction. So that's why it's so frustrating to see these people that are flaunting it and not accepting that it's a real situation. They're ruining it, and it's not some small thing. At a certain point, it's going to be, we told you this was happening. It's like the zombie movies or anything where like people don't believe it's happening, but then it's like, oh, this really is happening. And it's just so weird. But I've been staying pretty much in. But you know what? I'm ready to make another grocery run. I have some non-perishable stuff, but you know, I want to go get some produce and maybe some potato chips, the important stuff. I think I have to stay away from some of the junk food because my tendency has been I bring some stuff home and then the first thing I do is open the bag of potato chips. And I had some cookies here and I was like, let's have some cookies then. If I don't have them, I get by without them. But if I have them, I can't stop. Schlesinger wrote, Adam Schlesinger wrote songs for the movie That Thing You Do. I never saw that movie. Did he really? And I don't really know Fountains of Wayne. Do you like them? Catchy tunes? Yeah. Well, wow, you guys and girls, thank you so much. Let's wrap it up. Okay. The longest stream I ever did before tonight was 2 nights ago, and it was about 2 hours, 33 minutes. We're at 3 hours, 28 minutes. So here's what I'm saying. I'm really done, and there's hardly any of you, and our numbers have dwindled. Only the hardcore maniacs are out there. Can I even last another 5 minutes? What have I got? Ask me something or tell me something, and we could go an hour longer than the Monday. But then we're done. We're done. Let's save some for tomorrow. So did I tell you, these live streaming pros, the guy with that lighting, they're having a challenge of like going live every day in April, and today's April 1st. So I skipped yesterday and I did today, and I think I might do it. They're going to have daily challenges, and I'm not really signing up for that, but I do want to do it a lot. But I might do some live streams on Instagram. I don't know if you use Instagram. I'm Science Comedian on Instagram, but I have a good following there. Even though, like compared to Twitter, I have about 1/10 as many followers, but I get way more engagement. I don't get any engagement on Twitter, but I haven't been good at Twitter. I haven't done it right. And I actually have done better at Instagram. But also, there's a community there because of stereo photography and Brian May, and then other friends I have that are whether comedians or science people. So I want to do some live. Unfortunately, the way I'm doing these platforms, I can't also go to Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. I could set up my phone next to this camera and also go to Instagram, but then I wouldn't really be able to see the comments. To keep the camera out of the shot, it would be too far away, and I can't see the Instagram comments, but I wonder, maybe I could pull it up in a browser. I don't know, maybe. But it's too many to have all those. Like, the one advantage here is that the comments are gathered here from Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. Catchy tunes. I see your post, Darla. Okay, the potato post is there. But let me tell you, now that you've seen it, I'm probably going to take it down. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I glanced at it, but I might take it down, and you'll forgive me, right, Darla? That's more like for us. We'll see what it is. Joe Diffie, Darlene says, was a country artist famous for the song Prop Me Up Beside the Jukebox When I Die. Okay, I don't know too much country. The country I know and love is Lucinda Williams, and that's it. A couple other people like that. Wilco, Jeff Tweedy. Who would you like to interview here? Well, lots of scientists, maybe some musicians. You know, the dream, of course, is Brian May. But there's some musicians that maybe it's feasible to get a hold of. and but a lot of cool scientists. So just we'd have like fun, different discussions. I mean, who would you like to see me interview? And like within the realm of possibility, like how could I make it happen? You know, for all we know, I might be able to get Neil Tyson to do one. Like I'd like to get something going and learn this other software package and have some interesting effects going on. Build it up into a little more of a show, maybe even a little more of an audience. Do some live interviews, get comfortable with it, and then approach some more. So in the meantime, I've got plenty of interesting people that I'm sure would do it that aren't huge, famous rock star and science star stuff, but star stuff. But I would want to do something a little, I'd like to get to a different place before I ask Neil if he would do it. Steve Vai, that could be, we could interview each other and compare syncing. And Albert says, I think that's a great idea. Who would you like to see me interview? Darlene, it drives me nuts that I can't really follow Instagram because I don't have a cell phone. You can do Instagram with a browser, but you can't post from the browser. There's some functionality you can't do, but you can consume. You can browse and look at people's pages. There's some stuff you might not be able to see, but for the most part, you can do it, but you can't post. You can see Brian May's posts if they're shared. No, Darlene, you can go to Instagram and you might have to have an account, but you know, another thing is someday you could get a cell phone. Everyone has it. By now, I was a late adopter, but by now it's like, you know, the things are catching on. They're probably becoming pretty popular, and there's a convenience, and you could get an inexpensive one, I think. I think you can get a cheap plan. It's possible. I'm not the best person to advise on that. All right, we're at 3 hours, 33 minutes. I'm going to let it go a couple minutes past this, and then it's an hour longer than my previous one. But that is not a pattern that we're going to maintain. We're not going to continually do an hour longer, because this may be ending at 4. I thought Facebook, you might be able to go 8 hours, but why? I have other shit to do. Not important shit, but I could do something else. Denise, I need to make space on my phone. Currently, my Twitter won't open. Sometimes Facebook or Messenger. Yeah, I understand. Clear off some video files. Delete some apps you're not using. Video files take up the most space. Get rid of some photos. But videos are the best way to clear space. Facebook owns it. That's right. That's why. But I kind of like Instagram. Darlene, I've been able to browse and I have an account through Facebook, but it's difficult to follow or comment. Nah, I don't want a cell phone. I'm Amish, you know. Okay, so you guys, thank you. You're fantastic. This has been a lot of fun. Oh, I forgot I wanted to disable something, so I can't do it secretly. So I guess we'll just fade to black at the end of this one. But this has been really fun. Thank you. You cheer me up. Thanks for interacting. Thanks for contributing. Think about silver linings. Think about other stuff that you'd like to see happen here. And if you have any ideas for people that, you know, achievable, not necessarily famous people that might be interesting to interview, but I'd like to start doing some scientist interviews and even like virus-related topics. It might be challenging to do them this late at night. Maybe I start a little earlier, or maybe I get experts on the West Coast, so it's not too late for them. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Albert. Let's fade to black. 3 hours, 35 minutes. I think that's more than enough for anyone. Good night, everybody. We'll be back. I think we'll do something tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to shoot for doing something every day, but some of those days I might just stream something to Instagram. Thank you, Mark. Always worth the time. I really appreciate that. Everybody stay safe. Take this stuff seriously. Humans are dirty creatures, except for us. Thank you, Darlene. Fireside chat. I'm going to hit the fade to black right now. Good night, everybody. 3 hours, 36 minutes, and 18 seconds. A new world record.